Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 96 on 850 The Buzz. I'm Amnon, your host for the next 3 hours, along with Mike.
Thanks.
Sorry, Mike, I had you muted.
I thought I was potted up.
Yeah, no, you are now.
All right.
Good morning.
I wish it were 1996 again.
And
my Apple stock.
And Senor Nick is here too.
Wow, can you believe we're in widescreen? Welcome to Computers 96.
Yeah, we'll talk about it in a second. Our number is 919-518-9773. Computers 2K Voice on Skype.
Sort of wild.
And this morning's show is being brought to you by that VidBlaster guy, Tom Sinclair, and by Adamus.com, makers of quality video recorders and converters for professionals. And today is August 24th. Oh no, I'm gonna give it out. Oh well, today is August 24th, 2014. The Computers 96 was Nick's idea. He likes the podcast from back then, and he wanted me to announce it that way. So
I don't know. I think the name sounds good. You say
Computers 96.
It sounds good. It rings. It flows.
Yep. So anyway, yes, we are doing widescreen. Courtesy of Nick setting it up, and
no courtesy of Nick.
Well, look, I couldn't have done it myself.
Yeah, but you put on some weight there, Amnon.
A what?
You put on some weight there.
I put it.
You're wider than normal.
I'm wider than normal. Just me?
I can't. I get. Yep.
Okay. And yeah, and I bought Steven's old camera. And Nick is mad at me because it's not an HD camera. It's just 16 by 9.
No, don't say I'm mad at you.
Well, you slapped my hand.
I didn't necessarily. No, I didn't slap.
Everybody
your
wants
hand.
me to go HD, and I'm saying, well, I don't know.
No. Merle's saying there's an echo.
Uh-oh. Don't tell me that I'm...
No, there's not. I just listened. Oh, okay. He's probably got two windows open.
Because I went through the whole thing and made sure that all the inputs are correct.
Okay, user error.
So, yeah, the default now where we do today, we're doing the 16 by 9 on Bamboozer. So make sure you're on Bamboozer and that you refresh the page. If you were there to begin with, you were watching last week's show. So refresh the page. You probably don't hear me anyway if you don't. If you are on it. So never mind.
Why don't you address Donovan's question, Amnon?
A what?
You should address Donovan's question.
I should address Donovan's question. The video is cut off on the sides. Well, that's correct. Because, Donovan, there are two machines involved. in the show. There is the machine that I'm working on that has VidBlaster and Wirecast on it here, and that's the one that does the 16:9, and I'm only streaming to Bamboozer with this machine. The other machine that does the Daily Motion, JustCast, and StreamUp is still configured for 4x3. Since I'm not going to be able to do all the shows in 16:9 at this point because of cameras, I need to have a way to go back and forth. So that's why, we figured out how to go back and forth here. Once we figure out how to do go back and forth on the other machine, then the other ones will be. But if you want to see it, it is on Bamboozer. You'll see it wide. Now, Nick, every week we were doing Bamboozer and JustCast with this machine, and we're running it. I don't want to be a liar. Let me switch to myself as one shot. We were running about 90 to 95%.
Okay.
At this point, with the one shot, we're doing just Bamboozer. I'm running at 65 to 70%.
Okay.
With the double shot,
another CDN. Maybe
so
you get another.
I'm wondering if I can inject JustCast into here too.
You can.
And it will probably be just fine. It will still be below.
Well, you can't do it now, but
yes, I can.
you have to update your player though.
I know. I tried it earlier, and it is really letterbox. But you see the whole thing.
I would not
Okay.
do it during the show.
Yeah, no, I'm.
Because then if something goes wrong, then you're not going to be part of the show.
Yeah. So anyway, this is. I'm feeling good about this because right now it's 50%. So that's good, and I'm thinking about it, and you tell me if I'm right. 640 by 480 has a lot more pixels to work with to encode than 640 by 360, right?
Not really.
Well, it's the same width, but it's less height. All that height that we're losing from 480 to 360 is stuff that the encoder does not have to encode, and that may be putting less resources, less.
I don't think
strain
it'll be cutting
on-
down your CPU 20%.
Well, no, I'm not saying that it'll be 20%. Remember, we're doing just one CDN, which
Yeah, but
I'm not
what is another
comparing
CDN?
apples to apples yet.
But what's another CDN going to add? 15%?
I have no idea.
20%?
I don't know,
Oh.
but it's very interesting here to see that. That's you see, I get excited over these things when I see differences and stuff. It's not a routine anymore. It's okay now. What's going on now? What's going to happen now? So it's fun. Anyway, so Mike is saying that. Oh, okay, yeah. Leo is not. Oh,
Well, when I asked about Leo's quality, I said, oh, he's in 480. He's not doing HD. So then I say he's not in HD. Oh, yes, he is. So I don't have a clue what Leo's doing. I don't watch his show.
I don't know. The way that as far as I'm concerned, the quality of the picture when you look on the web page with the chat and everything, to me it's unbelievable. It's great compared to the way it used to be. I judge the clarity by clicking on a full screen, and then I look at the text at the bottom right to see how clear it is.
Yeah, but you also, if you put it full screen, you can't even read Mike's Twitter handle. So, the clarity
Really?
definitely, yes. Can't read mine either. Barely. You can read it, but barely.
Well,
That's
we
true.
don't need to spend all morning on that.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Yep, that's true. Yep. Well, you can't read it anyway on the regular side. So it's yeah. Well, I guess that also has to do with the fact of it being captured on from another monitor. Doesn't that have to do with that too?
I don't know.
Nick?
We'd have to look at it,
Okay. All right.
but I doubt it.
Anyhow, So what else is happening?
Earthquake in California.
Yeah, I heard something this morning.
6.0. It's the I just saw it's the largest to strike the I guess the Bay Area since an earthquake in 1989. So damage reports, power outages, fires, all that fun stuff.
I need to recapture.
Where did you get that picture of those wine bottles?
Twitter. I think if you search for the hashtag, probably earthquake on Twitter, you'll probably see some good stuff. Yeah, that's just
one
what
good way of selling out.
What?
That's one good way of selling out your inventory.
I guess so. Be interested if Sean ends up waking up. There's any a new aftershock 4.0.
Somebody in California told me, I don't know, you don't believe anything you hear anymore, but someone in California told me if it's below 5, they don't pay any attention to it.
Yeah. Well, I don't understand how below 5 they don't pay any attention, but a 6.0 is destroying the city.
I'll tell you why. Because
Why?
it's a logarithmic. Oh, I forgot. You're the math expert.
Oh.
It's a logarithmic scale. 6 is not twice as bad as 3. It is like 10 times worse than 3 or 20 times worse than 3, depending on. I don't remember which logarithmic scale they use, natural or base 10.
All these wine bottles. Wow.
I don't know why it's doing it, but that happens every now and then if you look at the
What are you talking about, Amnon?
the capture, like your picture, your video is kind of
Okay.
it's jumping. And normally, if I recapture it, this is a VidBlaster problem for sure. I know.
Well, then don't put it full
If
screen.
you
won't see it.
recapture, it goes away. But I tried it 3 times now, and it's still. But if it's not bothering anybody, it's fine.
Well, don't put it full screen though, because it does look weird.
It's
when
not got
full
nothing to do
screen.
with full screen.
I know, but you don't see it as much when it's. That's what I'm saying. When it's double box.
No, we'll see. I'll try it later and see if it goes away. You know, a lot of people are going. Are looking for a job in IT. And I came across this article from Tech Republic about that addresses employers and what to ask a candidate when they come to apply for a job. And I figured, you know, this works the other way too. If the candidate knows which questions or what they should know about what's going on out there, that may help them. So the questions to answer or to ask or to know about when you interview for IT position is like, what are 2 or 3 major trends affecting the IT industry, and how do you see them affecting the profession? Who can answer that?
I'm not an IT professional.
Me either.
The what?
I'd make up something, though.
So what are the 2 or 3 major trends affecting the IT industry?
Apple. Mac user.
That's on the safe side.
The cloud.
The cloud.
The
Come on, guys, that's for the chat too. That's not for Nick and Mike.
Oh, well, you know what? Then I'm not giving you an answer if it's not for me.
So that's the first question. What are the 3 major trends? So you need to research that and come up with an answer about trends and how does it affect the profession. Number 2 is the interviewer will ask, tell me about a time you were asked to perform a task or project you did not understand. Many times we go and we may be given something by the boss or the manager and say, wow, I don't know anything about it, but you don't want to say that. So how would you handle that? I would go and real fast research, try to find colleagues that know about that could help. And that's the way I learned, by doing stuff. Other people may open a book. I don't know that you have a time to do that. Mike, I wouldn't even ask you this because I don't think there's anything you cannot do.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Number 3 goes, tell me about a time you were asked to do something you've never done before, new technology, different type of project, new industry, etc. And that's sort of like the same thing. I guess the interviewer wants to kind of get a feel of how would you handle. Would you panic? Of course, you're not going to say anything, but they want to see how you would handle, because things evolve so fast. And if you're going to stay at the company, you're going to get, sooner or later, you're going to hit a situation where you're asked to do something you haven't done before. And they want to see how you handle it. So keep that in mind and come up with some way that you can explain what you're going to do in this guy.
Actually, I can answer that one.
Okay.
I've shown you this little deal here before.
You get it closer a little bit to the thing so people will know what it is. Yeah.
They're not going to know what it is.
No, I mean, we see
This is a programmable module for a magnetostrictive linear displacement transducer. But I was working for a company back in 1990 in that area. We were manufacturing a part. It's an electronic yardstick. We were manufacturing this thing that required individual selection. You had to run a computer program to calculate the values for the components on a circuit board that was about 4 by 5 inches. It went into an explosion-proof metal box. I mean, it was very, very expensive to make. And I went to them and I said, why don't we just take this thing and put a microprocessor in there and make it programmable so we don't have to deal with all these values and calculations and so forth. And my boss said, good idea, do it. I said, I don't know, I've never programmed a microprocessor. I don't know anything about all that. And he said, okay, well, go to school and learn. I said, you want me to go to school and learn how to program a microprocessor instead of bringing a contractor in? And he said, yeah. He said, we need to have the internal capability. So I went to school at Intel for a week, learned how to program the 8051 microprocessor. Came back and spent the next 9 months trying to figure out how to package it into this little postage stamp size package, and ultimately released the product, and it turned out to be the most exciting product the company ever had. What's the amazing part is what's inside of this little box is it has a microprocessor, some memory, some drivers, and all sorts of things. There's the stuff inside this would be equivalent at the time to what was inside at least a cell phone, a large cell phone, or even a small laptop computer if they had them back then. So there was nothing at the time, and it was really funny because whenever our salespeople took this to a trade show to begin with, our competition had a proposal. They were proposing to do something like this. They walked up to the booth where we had this on display, and the competition walked up and moved the magnet, saw the voltage moving on the readout, which is what this does. And the competition said, can I look at it? And he said, sure. So he looked at it to see if there was anything tricky about it, to see if it was just a fake mock-up. And once they saw it was working, they were not happy.
Well,
so anyway, that's what happens when you're faced with challenges. Better be careful what you suggest. It might get dumped in your lap.
All right, and question number 4 goes, do you get bored easily?
Oh yeah.
So that means if it's a company and they're hiring you for a job that is a routine thing, there's nothing to be in creative or
Now, I think that's a loaded question that you just asked.
well, remember this is what they ask. So you tell me why and what you would answer.
Well,
And why wouldn't you answer it in a certain way? Let's hear.
Yeah, do I get bored easily when I'm sitting home and not doing anything? Yeah.
Of course.
Do I get bored when I'm sitting at work and inviting people to a Facebook page all day because that's what I do? Yeah, I get bored, but it's a different kind of boredom. It's not a bored like, oh, God, I can't wait to quit so that I don't have to do this anymore. It's a different type. I don't think they're the same thing. In one respect, you're getting paid to do what you're doing. In the other respect, you're just not doing anything.
Okay.
Maybe I'm the only one that feels that way,
But okay, so where is the loaded?
Well, I think it's loaded. You asked Mike, do you easily get
No,
bored?
I'm asking everybody.
Well, yeah, but Mike answered yes. Yes, and
Right.
I easily get bored home as well.
I do too.
That's a different. Well, yeah, you work from home.
I mean, if there's nothing to, if it's something that you do the same again and again and again. I mean, I could not work on an assembly line, for instance. There's no way. I would go out of my mind if I had to do the same thing. What?
I said I don't think you could do what I do then.
Probably not. But if everybody could,
people to Facebook.
That's what makes us unique. That's why they interview people, is to find the right person for that job. Some people, that's all they want to do. They want to sit there and put a screw in one place again and again and again. And they feel comfortable with that. And they feel like they're really doing their part. And that's great. All right. What types of activities would you expect and prefer this role to entail? You have to know where you're going to, so I don't know that you can answer this, but remember that. 6, where do you want your career to go, and what skills would you like to learn and develop as our employee? And in many companies, they are chances of advancements, and you can become a manager. So you may say, I would love to be a manager. I would love to be head engineer. I would love to learn how to program in Python. I don't know, but I think if they're looking for lower end employee. If I was looking for a lower-end employee, I would probably just look for somebody who has no needs or wants to learn anything new. Because if I don't have that new stuff, then they'll probably leave and go somewhere else. And if there are newer ways to do things, I may end up with an employee who would try to bring new technology in that I may not be comfortable with, and create a problem. They're just the two things I can think of, but I'm sure there are others. See, like Merle say, I jump from project to project. Put up fires. This is you. If you can do that, you are a very, very, in my opinion, very valuable employee, because that means that you know enough about different things to jump in and fix it. In some places where like we were talking about, let's say you were hired to program a game. They want you to sit at the desk and use the language that you program a game with and do what you were assigned to do. They don't want you to start jumping up and say, "Oh, but you know, I can go, hey, let me help you to do your job." If everybody does their job, everything works. You trying to say something, Nick?
No.
Oh. Well, Merle, jack of all trades, master of none. This is a funny saying, but in many cases, a jack of all trades is really not jack of all trades. I mean, it's a jack of 10 trades or 5 trades. I mean, you can program and you can fix the PC and you can unclog the sink. You know how to do these things. It doesn't take a master to do that. So this is a way to do certain things and still be good at it. In my opinion. Yeah, and Dan says, sounds like the military. Yeah. I remember first day in the military, the question was, that's boot camp. Who can play the piano? And everybody thinks, oh, that's going to be an easy job. They want you to play the piano. 3 people raised their hand. I can. All right, you go over to the mess hall and move the piano from this room to that room. So you really need to know how you answer and what you answer. But yeah, in the military, they want you to be, in most cases, they want you to do their job and that's it. That's not really true everywhere. I was taken from working in a job that was pretty routine to I was moved up real quick because the person who turned out to be my colonel later on realized, hey, this guy here can do more things than just that. He likes to do other stuff. So he took me sort of like under his wing and moved me up to headquarters because he wanted to have that. And it was fun because I did many things that normally I wouldn't be doing. But it makes you thrive, kind of. So that's good and bad. You have to know the company that you're going to, I think, to say, okay, yeah, this company here does such and such. So if I'm showing them that I know I can do different things, I will probably get hired. All right. If you would make 2 or 3 changes at your former place of employment. Now, this is really a question that you need to think a lot about. If you could make 2 or 3 changes at your former place of employment, what would they be? I think the boss in this case is trying to probe and find out, are you going to be a troublemaker? Do you have good ideas that if it depends how you take them? Because this will evolve, and how would you go about it? And they want to see that they have somebody that is not going to cause problems, and that they think about these things. When I moved here and we bought the house, I was working as a mechanic on my own. Well, in a garage, but on my own. We were paid commission, and I was making good money. That was not good enough for the bank. The bank wanted me to get it to have a job. And we're talking back in late 70s. The bank wanted me to have a steady job with a steady paycheck to okay the loan. I went to work for a phone company. I was making probably a third of what I was making, but that was good enough for them. I lasted 8 months, and I had to leave. It was sort of like leaving and getting fired because I couldn't see waste. I would go and I would complain to the managers about waste. I hate waste. And that's not what they wanted to see. So even though I did good work and solved a lot of problems, this was one thing that they didn't like. So leave things alone. This is the way we've been operating, and don't change it. So you need to think about these things when you go into a job. One of the things that I remember is don't always say, oh, yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. And when somebody asks about a certain thing, you jump up and you say, no, that's not how you do it. This is how you do it. People in many companies, and the bigger the company, I think the worse it is, don't want to hear from somebody else about, oh, this is how you do this. That is not how you do this. In small companies, I believe when you're sitting in a room and the boss's door is open and you say something like that, the boss would like, a boss, an owner of a smaller company, I think, would want to find better ways, newer ways, more efficient ways, more practical ways of how to do things. And if you can come up with something like that, then they appreciate that. If they don't think that this way is better, they'll tell you, and you should take it. Don't argue, because they're the boss. 919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. I'm not following what's going on in the chat. Anyway, let's keep going. Ask a tough employee question. I don't know what a tough employee question would be, but be prepared that the boss will ask something that is kind of tough. And then they'll ask you about a hobby or interest. If it's mentioned on your resume, you need to make sure that what you put on the resume, and I know people that write resumes, and they put things in there that they really have no business putting in. I don't understand how people do this. I've seen resumes being sent over of people that I know because they wanted me to look it over, and I know the guy knows nothing special about Microsoft Word, but because they use it and they can write a document, they become experts in Word. If you put down that you are an expert on using Microsoft Word, the boss, where you go, may ask you to show him how you do some formulas. I don't know. I've been using Microsoft Word for years. I'm now no expert at all. I can write a document. I can do little things with it, but when it comes to using the real power of Word, I know nothing about it.
Ask them to create a style sheet.
Stuff like that. So if you don't know how, don't say that you are an expert. Say, I have used Microsoft Word to write documents.
Proficient with. They'll say I'm proficient with, which is
I'm
reasonable,
proficient. Okay, that's a good way to say it. Yeah.
Because my favorite is when they put down that they're an expert at Windows. I said, really? How would you modify the registry to change the listening port for the RDP?
Right. That's the thing. People think that that they need to put stuff like they're really strong at this and strong in that. Don't, because sooner or later you're gonna be found that, okay, he said that, but he knows nothing about it.
That's one reason that a lot of companies, whenever they hire you, they put you on a 90-day sort of a trial basis. They think, a lot of people say, it's to keep from having to pay you benefits, and to some extent that's true. but at the same time, they want to have a period of time to determine if what they learned about you during the interview process is legitimate or whether there's a bunch of hooey on it.
Mm-hmm. And they will find out.
They'll eventually find out.
Yeah.
Of course, that's the problem is the entire interviewing process is so flawed. It's just unbelievable because even if somebody, to begin with, there are people who master the interviewing process and who master the resume process. These people do really well in the interview, but when they get there and they come in, they want to sit there and run their mouth all day instead of getting off their butt and doing some work. So they don't turn out to be useful employees.
And at that point, you're going to lose the job.
They're going to be terminated.
Yep. All right, so that's about.
Lying on your resume is one of the quickest ways to get fired, and the government, even the government, is not real sensitive to people who do that, and that's misrepresentation.
And when a boss or when a company finds out that you lied on your resume, it's going to have an effect on your future too. If you tell the next one that you've been working here and there, because that shows certain characteristics about your character.
Right, but fortunately for the people who do that, the laws now are such that a lot of that information doesn't travel around. It's sort of illegal to, for example, if you call me and ask, if I fire an employee, you want to hire that employee, you call me for a reference, and I say, oh, he's very devious, he's very lazy, or doesn't show up for work on time. Even if it's all true, if the person on whom I'm giving the reference says, wait a minute, that's not true, you can't prove it, then they sue, and now I am tasked with the responsibility of having to prove everything my mouth just said. And while it may all be true, proving something and saying it are two different things. So that's why most companies now, the only reference they will give is, yes, he or she used to work here.
So when you see, I don't go through that because I don't have employees that I need to do that with. When you, I mean, isn't that the same thing as saying, they ask questions, you say, yeah, he used to work here. Well, was he good? Yeah, he used to work here.
We don't give references.
We
always confirm employment.
Oh.
But it good or bad, we don't give it either way.
Well, I had people that asked me to be a reference for their asking for a job, people that I know. Like Mike, if I know you as a friend and you're going to ask to go for a job and they want references, you can say, hey, Amnon such and such will call, so do you mind? And then you give them a review, because Mike is not going to ask Amnon to be a reference if he doesn't know that Amnon is not going to say good things about them. Is there something wrong about doing it that way?
That's a personal reference. That's not a business
Correct.
reference.
Yeah, I'm talking about personal.
But I mean, that's kind of silly in and of itself, isn't it? I mean, how many names are you going to give out for a personal reference of people who are going to say, Amnon, stay away, man? I mean, that guy's a loser.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. But
I fired a lady one time, and she called me and asked me if she could give me as a reference.
Who?
I didn't say who. I said, I fired a lady one time. She called, wanted to know if she could use me as a reference. I said, you can, but you might not want to.
You see, I've never understood. If I worked for a company for 6 months and I got fired because, I don't know what, I mean, a real bad situation. Or if I lived in an apartment and I trashed it and I was kicked out and I'm going to look for another, and they ask me, where did you live last? And I say, oh, I lived in, I don't even mention that place. How would they find out? I mean, the only way to find out is to go to utilities and find out where you lived. And I don't know that they will give that information, but I'm saying, yeah, if you worked somewhere for 10 years, that's kind of hard to hide. But if you worked somewhere for 10 years, you should talk about it because that shows that you're a good employee. You've been there for 10 years.
I will tell you that whatever you do in life is now on a computer somewhere, and it follows you around. My younger daughter, is in law school. She's just this semester started taking bankruptcy law. As part of that course, they were required to pull their own credit report, which she's never done. She's never done any credit. She's always paid cash and never had a credit card, any of that stuff. Boy, she pulled her credit report, and it was several pages long. Had to do with, the apartment would report her paying on time, and they would report everything she did. It's just amazing some of the things that were in there, and she'd never even had credit. It's all legitimate and all good, but it's amazing what was there.
Yeah, I guess today they do have ways to do it. All right. Charles is asking, anybody believes the rumors that Microsoft will make Windows 9 free? I kind of doubt that.
They know what it's worth.
So it could be. I was reading something. Where is it? Talking about Microsoft.
I think a lot of it may have to do with how big of an internal bath they really have taken on Windows 8. If Windows 9 is free, I'm sure you must have a Windows 8 license to get it free. That would I would think it would be a free upgrade.
No, that makes sense, yeah.
8 and not Windows 7, but I'm guessing, and no, I have not heard that. And yes, I can believe it's true because as far as I know, Microsoft they have another Vista and Windows ME on their hands with Windows 8.
Talking about Microsoft has had passionate discussion about renaming Internet Explorer to distance the browser from its tarnished image, according to answers from members of the developer team given to a Reddit Ask Me Anything session today. In spite of significant investment in the browser, with the result that Internet Explorer 11 is really quite good, many still regard the browser with contempt, soured on it by the lengthy period of neglect that came after the release of the once dominant version 6. Microsoft has been working to court developers and get them to give the browser a second look, but the company still faces an uphill challenge. I mean, if tomorrow Microsoft come and say, okay, we call our browser whatever, change the name, is that going to change anybody's view and feeling about, oh, forget about Microsoft Explorer, that's full of bugs? Do you think it will change? Will it change your mind, Mike?
I'm not as negative on Internet Explorer as a lot of people are. The only problem I have with IE is I think the user experience is just so much different from Firefox or Chrome. You can switch between Firefox and Chrome and feel comfortable between the two. It's not a big deal. When you switch over to IE, now you got to start looking around for stuff and trying to remember how things work. But even then, if you work with it for an hour, you'd be used to it. I don't find, Nick gets all pissy about it, but I don't find any problems with IE.
Talking about Nick, where did Nick go? I hope he doesn't have any problem with his
Probably had an earthquake.
Computer. He did say he'll have to pop in and out because of the fan. And we were talking yesterday about this. Nick was saying, what did I think? Is it better to his case gets hot, the CPU gets hot. Is it better to, he had a fan on top that was blowing in. He has vents on the top, so he put a fan on top to blow in, and that seems to do the job, but the fans would die. Is it better to exhaust the heat from the case, or is it better to blow air from outside in right there where the processor is, right under that vent?
What counts is getting the heat away from the proximity of the processor, and whereas you would think that there would be an instant answer to that question, it's not necessarily so. It's whichever method gets the heat away from the processor more efficiently.
Right.
Having said that, the ideal solution seems to be an exhaust fan, but what people overlook is the exhaust fan's efficiency is based on the path of the airflow through the computer. You remember, Amnon, back in the early days, whenever Pentium 3s and so forth, that of course even always the biggest problem with a computer is getting rid of the heat as far as getting additional speed and so forth. And what would happen is that a lot of time and energy were spent engineering the airflow through a computer. Dell and Lenovo had some of the best shrouding and channeling of air through their computers that you could see. In fact, one of the best was Gateway of all. Whenever you may recall that, and not many people paid a lot of attention to it, which is why I think things changed. But what happened was whenever you would work on a Gateway computer, there was this prominent notice that said, if you remove cards, be sure to put the card slot cover back in its place to not disturb the airflow through the computer. And of course, a lot of people would not pay attention to that and would end up creating issues. So I think that's whenever it became more important for the manufacturers to do local cooling, because now you can leave a motherboard sitting on top of inside a case and cover it up and all that, and you're not as likely to have an issue. That's something where it was engineered originally, but people seem not to be able to get it.
Yeah, but the thing is, like you say, in certain circumstances, if you're blowing right at the processor and the sink, you may be helping it, while if you're exhausting, it's more general, and you're keeping the vicinity cooler.
Well, let me ask you this. Think about it this way. If you, let me see if I can make this a good comparison. Let's suppose, it's quite a fair comparison. Let's suppose that you want to fill a bucket up with water. So you have a hose going into one side of the bucket and a hose coming out of the other side of the bucket. Is it more efficient to shoot water into the bucket from the hose coming in, or is it better to draw the water by the hose coming through the outside? Let me hang on a second.
Easy now.
That's not a good example. Let me say it again. Let me look at it this way. Forget the bucket. Let's suppose that we want to flow water across this little square area. Okay? So we have a hose coming in and a hose going out. Once we put water in to fill up this little square area, like a flower pot or something like, you want to shoot water into it. Is that more efficient than actually putting a vacuum pump on the other side and pulling the water through? And once the water's flowing, it's not an exact comparison because of the startup, but air is everywhere. But water, once you start pulling the water out of this little area, it really doesn't matter. I mean, it's the energy of flowing the water through the area that counts. So that's the same with pushing air versus pulling air. The real trick is how efficient is the path that the air follows.
Right. The other thing that I think you should take a look at is you can put 7 fans exhausting on a case. If you don't have enough passages and vents to allow fresh air to go in, you're not doing much. So you should have, if I had a case that had 7 fan grids on it, I would probably put 4 blowing in and 3 exhausting, because you want to make sure that you get as much fresh air in as you are exhausting. Otherwise, the fans are going to fight each other. I remember people putting in the early days, there used to be just the fan on the power supply. Remember that? There were no other fans because there was not big heat problem. And as things were getting a little bit hotter, they added another fan. Most of these computers were built by people, and a lot of people would put the fan exhausting. So now you have two fans exhausting and not enough vents to bring air in. And the computer will overheat, and the power supply will overheat. Because now the power supply could not move enough air out to cool its components. And these were the days when the power supply is the thing that was getting hot, not the CPU. So it needs to be done in a scientific way. Right, Mike?
Yeah. Tim is asking, how does a fan cool a room?
It doesn't.
It doesn't. And the reason, and Dr. John probably can give a better technical explanation for this than I do because I haven't thought about it. I've read the scientific explanation, but I haven't thought about it. It's not that interesting to me. But of course, your body heat, as your body gives off heat, because your body is warmer than the environment around you. So as your body gives off heat through perspiration, the heat leaves your skin, and what happens is that the fan blows across your skin, and that heated area around your skin, the perspiration is blown away. This the heat around your arm blows away, and so then your body can give off more heat, and since now your body has the capacity to give off more heat, you feel
right.
cooler. And I know that's not a scientific explanation, but that's conceptually how it works. I forget exactly what the...
I wonder how many people know. I mean, you know, you're talking about people that live in the desert. So you say, how do you keep your water from boiling? How do you drink this water that is there in canisters? And I wonder how many people know that if you take water and you put it in a ceramic container, it will actually cool the water off, because enough of the water seep through the wall, through the ceramic. And I'm not talking about glazed or anything. I mean, that's just for looks. And for the same thing that Mike was mentioning, as air goes over it, it cools it, it blows it over, and it cools. And we used to do that. We used to put containers of water on the windowsill to get them cool, because back then we had ice boxes. Yeah, I'm that old. And it cools. So that's the same thing. Some people look at the Bedouins or the nomads in the desert, and if you ever look close, or if you knew one, you would see that they are wearing about 7 layers of clothing in the desert, in heat of 100 plus. It keeps them cooler. You would think, hey, I want to take all my clothes off to cool off. No. So there are things that may not be explained, or may be possible to explain scientifically, but this is one of the things that's, wow. Nick, you're back.
I am.
So did something happen to the computer?
No.
Oh.
I was here. I just wasn't here.
Okay, I was just wondering. Let's see. This is something that Nick, did you want to talk about the Windows App Store, Windows 8 App Store, whatever, or you want me to read the story and you comment on it?
Go ahead and read it, I guess.
Windows 8 brought a lot to the table. With one of its most features most major features being its App Store. However, it's not a feature that Microsoft seems too intent on keeping clean. As it is today, the store is completely littered with misleading apps and outright scamware. The unfortunate thing is that to find any of it, all you have to do is simply open the store and pursue the main sections. Not so surprisingly, no Microsoft software seems to be affected by this. But many open source apps can be found at the store from unofficial sources that have a cost or will lead the users to download a third-party installer. It's only a matter of time before malware sneaks its way in, if it's not there already. I was thinking to myself, no, I don't believe that this happens with Microsoft App Store. But we were talking about it, and Nick said that he read the article and he believes it.
Yeah, so this, well, I don't want to get into the whole Slashdot thing again.
Right.
But I'm gonna preface it quickly. So the Slashdot is essentially a form, and users submit the stories. So you'll have people that are very enthusiastic about either a story or about a set topic, and they will phrase a headline incorrectly. Microsoft discontinues Windows 7 support. Some extreme headline, and when in reality that's not the story at all. And that happens a lot on Slashdot, and that's why I do not read them, because it's some of the time this stuff's just not accurate. But that headline is 100% accurate. Windows is allowing these, I guess, scam apps into the App Store, and there's they're all being submitted, and when people at Microsoft are approving these clips or these apps. They are approving them. They're letting them pass right through, and they're passing them on to the user. And it's to the point now where some of the apps are just links to download the app. And I was watching a YouTube I guess a YouTube podcast last night, and they were talking about this issue. He had a Windows phone, and he said a lot of the apps in the store are just these scam apps that are just giving you a link to download the file. It's not the actual app itself. You're paying for the download file. So it's definitely a problem, but Microsoft really doesn't seem to care, which doesn't surprise me at all.
No. You always have to take these things kind of like with a grain of salt. Nothing that I read here or that is cast in stone, or I don't claim that it's true or false. I go to Slashdot. I go to other news. I mean, I don't write these things, guys. I read them, and if I think it'll be interesting to you, then I print them and I read them here on the show.
Yeah,
but in many cases,
just got to be careful.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the problem is a lot of people, and there are a lot of people that read something on Slashdot and take it as the Bible, which is false, because it's, again, just the user submitted stuff. If I really hate Apple, I'm more likely to write a headline that is against Apple than I am to write something that's against Microsoft. So you really just gotta pay attention.
Let's see who we have here. Good morning.
Hey, I was looking at your website. Thanks for taking my call, by the way.
Okay. Which website?
And
which website?
It says, well, the computer's 2K now, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
And it says, listen to us on Stitcher Radio.
Yeah?
Takes me to the main page of Stitcher Radio so I can figure out where you're at. So I just wondered if there was
okay,
a link.
do you want to watch us, or you just want to hear us on your phone?
Well, I was going to gonna bookmark it actually, so I could save it for later. So I could,
you-
like listen in the week.
That's interesting. Every now and then I'll go to Stitcher just to listen to it, and I know you have to go and search it.
Yeah.
Did you try to?
But you don't have a separate account, I guess you can link it to.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
That
was my expectation. When
Well,
it said
are you-
listen
are you-
to it.
Okay, wait a second. Let me ask you this.
Okay.
Are you trying? Do you want to bookmark an audio only link to like
Well, I
listen?
just wanted to see what you had. Yeah.
Again, I'll ask. So you want only audio? You don't want the video?
Right.
You can do it either on Stitcher, or you can go directly to where Stitcher is pulling it out from, which is right here in front of me,
Okay.
and that's g12.com.
Okay.
If you go to g12.com, you'll get a page, and you just need to click on the link for the audio, and you
Yeah.
hear it. You hear it right there, and you
Okay.
can book.
Are you
that's
trying-
what my aspiration was. You know, the user expectation I had was when it said Heroes on Stitcher Radio, I didn't
Yeah.
think I'd have to look for you because I'm pretty lazy. Well, you're not old yet, Amnon, because, you know, they say if you don't grow up by the time you're 50, you never will. So join the club. Welcome aboard.
Yeah.
And I'll leave it at that. Thank you for your help.
Sure.
Have
Nick?
a great day.
You too. Nick, what were you saying?
Well, if somebody wants to listen to the show in a download, which I guess that's not what he wanted, but that's how I took it. You can't do that on G12. You have to go to the website and download the audio
If
file.
you want to download it, that's correct. But you
G12 is
couldn't.
not
But
just
you couldn't
computers.
download it from Stitcher either.
Well, yeah, and I think that's maybe what he wanted to do because he said he
Yeah.
wanted to listen throughout the
Yeah.
week.
If you want to see the, I mean, when you go to Stitcher, to G12, to TuneIn, all these, it's the live stream that we do, either like right now when we're live or when I run
Yes.
the 24/7. But if
I'm
you
looking at you.
if you want to get past shows and download an MP3 to play later on or to see what is there, then you can go to, if you go to, and you are on Computers 2K now, on the left, if you click on the on demand,
Yep.
then the link with the date is actually the link to an MP3. If you click on the
Okay.
video
Perfect.
link,
That's exactly what I wanted. I want
Okay.
the MP3, just the audio.
yeah,
You
so
know,
that's
I just put it on the MP3 player and crank it out later.
yeah.
You know, I'll have it play in the background when I'm working so I can do something constructive and not just listen to music and maybe learn something.
Yep, and there
Like
are
I
other.
didn't about the Windows Store. I just caught Nick's good description of that bad news, and so I'll stay away from that place.
Well, no. This was not meant to scare people away because there's a lot
Oh,
of
I'm
good
not-
things there.
I'm not scared away. I just don't have a real use for it.
Okay, that's fine. Me neither. I don't think I've
Okay.
ever been there. All right,
Yeah.
You have to have
I
Windows
should know
8
they
to
had
do
one
that.
until he said that. Thank you.
take care.
Have a
Bye.
good day.
You too.
You too, Nick.
See you later. Yeah, Amnon, the reason you've never been there is because you don't have Windows 8.
Yeah, but I mean, I go to some Mac sites. I don't have a Mac just to see what's going on. But I've never. I guess.
The Windows
I guess.
the Windows App Store is built into Windows 8. It's not a not a
Oh,
website.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, it's not a website you go
Okay.
to. It's
All right.
built into the OS.
That explains it.
Yes.
Explain. So last week we were talking about updates that screwed up Windows. And this week there's another article about it. It says right on schedule, Microsoft rolled out an onslaught of patches for its Patch Tuesday last week, and despite the fact that it was the true update 2 for Windows 8.1 many of us were hoping for, updates are generally worth snatching up. Since the patch rollout, it has been discovered that 4 individual updates are causing random blue screen of death issues for its users. And the update, if you guys want to write it or somebody will type it in the chat, KB 2982791, KB 2982791 is a kernel mode related driver, being the biggest culprit. Because of the bug severity, Microsoft is recommending that anyone who updated go and uninstall a couple of the specific updates or roll back using Windows Restore. You can uninstall these updates in much the same way you uninstall any app. The difference is that once you're in the program and feature section, you'll need to click on View Installed Updates on the left. While it's mostly recommended that you uninstall the 2982791, you may wish to uninstall the other as well, just in case. And you can also see these updates by date. So if you see that on August, whatever it was, 19th, you have like 7 or 8 or 9 updates, you can go and uninstall all those from that date. And you'll be fine, because next time they'll probably update it anyway. I have not heard about anybody having this problem. I have not had that problem yet. I don't know, Nick, did you hear? Mike, anybody? Did you hear about anybody that had a problem with the operating system because of...
One person, Jake, told me that somebody that we know from school may have had the problem, but
Okay.
said may, not necessarily confirmed.
Yeah, that's kind of, I mean, they were saying that if you are affected, then it's going to be a problem fixing it, because the system will not boot. You have to boot the system, so they said to go to the Windows forum or whatever they call it on Microsoft site, and find out how to get into your computer without having to reinstall the OS. But that's, I mean, I don't understand how they do stuff like this, but it happens, and it's not the first time, and it's probably not the last time that something like this happens. What's up, Mike?
I don't know why.
I don't know. You popped up.
No, I was just typing something. Did you get this from Dave's Computer Tips?
No.
Because I was just looking at his email, and he was covering that.
Oh. No, I did not get his newsletter in time.
It was at 10:30 last night.
Well, that was late.
Well, you need to get up early.
I was gone then. I was in bed. So
Study
there.
reveals malicious Chrome extensions. A recent analysis of Chrome browser extensions performed by Usenix, the Advanced Computer Systems Association, has revealed a relatively high number of malicious and suspicious extensions, many of which have been downloaded by millions of users. In a PDF document detailing their findings, the researchers noted the amount of critical and private data that web browsers mediate. Probably should have clicked on that before I started reading it. I hate where they put
That's okay.
introductions to these things and then don't give you the whole story. The amount of critical and private data that web browsers mediate continues to increase, and naturally this data has become a target for criminals. In addition, the web's advertising ecosystem offers opportunities to profit by manipulating a user's everyday browsing behavior. As a result, malicious browser extensions have become a new threat as criminals realize the potential to monetize a victim's web browsing session and readily access web-related content and private data. The Usenix used a dynamic analysis system of their own called Hulk, which fleshes out an extension's malicious behavior to analyze 48,000 Chrome extensions. Of the 48,332 extensions analyzed, 130 were found to be outright malicious, while a further 4,712 were found to be suspicious. Among the 130 malicious extensions, Usenix identified behavior that included ad manipulation, affiliate fraud, information theft, and social network abuse. And let's see what they talk about here. Here's a breakdown. I'll just post this study. It's interesting, and I don't know really what the takeaway from the discussion is, except that before you start downloading and adding things, you need to make sure that the extension has been out a while and that it's from someone that you trust, and that there's no guarantee that you're not going to get hit with it anyway. But for example, as far as the detection classes are concerned, the biggest problem was the extensions that inject dynamic JavaScript. Second was produces HTTP 4XX errors. 451 avails with input greater than 128 characters, which I guess what that means is that crashes the browser and allows them to hack into your system.
Mm-hmm.
Another is that it prevents extension uninstallation and steals passwords from your forms, 39. Performs requests to non-existent domains, 26. Contains keylogging functionality, 23. Injects security-related HTTP header, 11. Steals email address from forms, 10. And uninstalls extensions, 8.
Yep. I've seen 3 of our computers here that after upgrade of Chrome, when it was started, it said that they are extensions that are not safe, and what do you want to do with them? And I figured, remove them. Go ahead, Chrome, remove them. If I need that extension later on, I'll go to the Chrome store and download whatever is there. But
why would you remove it, though?
If they decided that there's something wrong with it,
oh yeah, if there's something wrong with it, I'd remove. But
that's what I mean.
Every app.
The screen that popped up is, we found 3 extensions that are not, I can't remember the language, but it's like they're warning you. There are 3 extensions here that there's something wrong with. What do you want us to do? Do you want to remove them, or do you want to just allow them? And I say, remove them. I probably don't need them to begin with. And if I do need them, I'll go get the updated one. That's good time to clean your browser. But it's nice that they're doing it. You have a problem with that? Do you have a problem with that?
Who are you asking?
I'm asking Nick.
Oh,
What?
he's not listening.
What?
No, I don't have a problem with it.
So there is, this week researchers uncovered yet another piece of crypto ransomware for Windows machines called ZeroLocker. Like its predecessors, such as CryptoLocker, the malware encrypts files on infected machines with a strong encryption algorithm. The attackers then demand the victim pay a sum of money to buy the decryption key and regain access to their files. However, this new variant includes a rather cheeky proposition. Pay the ransom quickly and receive a healthy discount. ZeroLocker offers an early bird price of $300 if payment is received within 5 days. After that, the price rises to $600 before peaking at $1,000 after 10 days of non-payment. Then the author says, I guess the criminals behind ZeroLocker view this as some kind of an incentive scheme, but a ripoff is a ripoff, discount or not. Well, you think?
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, we can't have insurance against that. And people will get hit by it.
Yeah, I actually had a problem. What was the name of that software that you could install that made that fake group manager thing? Crypto Prevent?
Yeah.
I ended up having a lot of problems with that little add-on.
I'm running it.
Me too.
I could not install a few pieces of software because of it.
That is correct, and that was normal, and that's why you put an exception in it. But
yeah, I just
I
never
mean,
removed it.
well, I mean that's fine, and but for some people, it would be better if they were to endure the challenge of installing things to make sure they know what they're installing.
Yeah, I mean, the time I had the problem was when I got my battery backup, and the software is called
Something exe.
no, well, it's called Power, and it's the APC software.
Right.
And the only way for me to be able to install it was to remove that or add an exception, but I just decided to remove it.
Yeah, remember, I mean, it's when we talked with the author, I mean, there's no magic here. It's not like a virus scanner.
Yeah.
It's a matter of policy, and it has. I'll bet you that software that you were installing was an exe, and it was going.
I don't remember.
And it was going to install it in that folder, the application data something where
App data folder.
Yeah, and it says no, I'm not going to let you, because that's how the crypto malware works. So that's why I had, you're right, I had a few of them that were exe that I was installing and said, oh. And it's a good thing that it did that. And at that point, you go and you read about this and said, okay, yeah, let's put an exception here, like Mike said.
So Tim is asking in chat, what do you think of Extension Defender and Extension in Chrome? I don't have it, but I'm going to assume that that's just an add-on that checks for either viruses or malware or something like that.
And we're back. I hope.
Nick, you really think that I should keep on using Chrome, huh?
Go to Firefox then. I'm not making you stay.
Not now. That was
You go to
Flash.
Firefox and stuff is going to get all screwed up and
I'm not asking it as a trying to draw him into some. I mean, Nick is using what?
Then try Firefox. I mean,
I'll
you were the
try
only one that ever has
Nick,
this problem.
I'm just wondering. I mean, you were saying that Firefox is worse than Chrome as far as
no, I said I don't like Firefox, but you use Chrome in the Hangouts every day. And this computer, for whatever reason, has problems with Skype, has problems with the Hangout. Yeah. It's not the service, Amnon.
You need to reinstall it, the operating system.
Honestly, I mean, Skype crashes, people can't talk. It's something's going on with the computer.
Well, what do you know? Pete Katz.
How you doing?
All right, how are you? Hey, I cannot keep you on the air if you don't use a headset or turn down your speakers. All right, now that's... Nope, I can still hear myself.
You can still hear yourself. Maybe I got the microphone turned up too loud. Just a second here.
Check. See, I hear myself coming back.
If you just put in earbuds, that should solve your problem.
Turn down your speakers. Try that.
The speakers aren't on.
Are you on a headset?
Yeah, on a headset.
Check. Okay, it's okay now.
It's good now.
Is it good now?
It's good now.
Yep, good now.
So what's up, Pete?
Okay. Nothing new to talk about and everything old. So what's going on with you guys?
Nothing. How's the weather down in Florida?
Hot.
Mm-hmm.
Hot. It's been 93 every day this week. Where's the pictures?
Nice. So, what operating system are you using now?
Solid X.
Solid X.
Yeah, it's a Debian-based system. It's a distant cousin of Mint, Linux Mint.
And you're using that because?
It's solid.
Oh, okay.
I don't have problems with it. I don't have. I'm using that, and on the other hard drive, I've got Manjaro, which is an Arch-based Linux.
Very nice.
Arch is. I've got all the tricks and drizzles and everything working. Wobbly windows, spin the desktops, and all that sort of stuff. If you can't have fun, why have it? Why do I not have pictures?
Because you cannot get, you are, here's, I'm going to teach you. Who did you connect to?
You.
No, who did you connect to?
You mean the internet provider?
No. Who did you just connect to Skype? What does it say?
Says
You connected to what?
computers.
Yeah.
Computers 2K voice.
Right. Voice. Voice.
Oh.
Okay?
Oh. Now which
You
one should I connect?
you cannot connect with video.
Why?
That's not available for callers. Just don't.
Oh.
Actually, Skype is not even running on the machine now. We're doing Hangouts, and it's only for the hosts.
You're doing Hangouts. Okay, I understand.
Yeah.
So you're in Hangouts.
Yeah.
So what's everybody doing?
Hanging
I got
out.
a few minutes. Hanging out. All right. All right. So
So you're calling
Who-
to tell us what?
well, I just don't really know.
Okay.
I had a few minutes this morning. I took off early from where I was at and decided to come home. And since I'm by myself, I said, well, why don't I do this?
All right. So just that's fine. If you don't have anything to add, then just stay there. And if you have something, jump in.
We'll do that. Who all's there with you? Since I can't see,
Why aren't you on the website?
I'm looking at the website, and all I got is this video call ended because of an error on the video.
Refresh the page.
Okay.
And make sure that after you refresh it, make sure that you turn the volume down under the video there on the right side of the bottom right of the video.
Oh, now I see you.
Make sure that you click that speaker.
All right, I turned it off.
That's it. All right.
Okay. Big time. Oh, I see Mike's there.
Yeah, Mike is there and Nick is there. And
I don't see
he'll,
Nick.
He'll pop in.
Yeah. We
All
I
right.
didn't know you was doing Google stuff.
Yep.
Everybody's talking about Google tracking people. I says, well, I want somebody to know where I'm at all times in case I fall down and I can't get up. I
Hey,
don't
Nick.
care if anybody.
Hello.
I don't care if anybody tracks me. I
Nick,
could care less.
Nick, we're talking about Chromebooks.
Yeah.
So Microsoft has teamed up with HP to make an affordable Windows laptop to beat Google Chromebooks at their own game.
Never.
German website Mobile Geeks have found some leaked information about this upcoming HP laptop dubbed Stream 14, including its specifications. According to the leaked datasheet, the HP Stream 14 laptop will share similar specs to HP's cheap Chromebook. It will ship with an AMD A4 microprocessor. What is that? What's the A4?
It's a crappy mobile processor.
Okay. 2 gig of RAM, 32 gig of flash storage, and a display with 1366 by 768 screen resolution. Microsoft,
I don't know why Windows is wasting their time.
I don't know. Microsoft will likely offer 100 gigabyte of OneDrive cloud storage with the device to balance the limited storage option.
Whoop-de-doo.
I mean, if it's going to be the same price or cheaper than the Chromebook that you get today, what will be bad about that?
Oh, no, this is what's bad about it. And the reason that the Chromebook works is because you don't run applications. That is the single reason that the Chromebook works. You run everything inside of the browser. This thing is going to ship. It's going to be just like those Dell computers that had the Atom processors in it. They're going to be totally useless. I mean, think about that. You've got a slow mobile processor and 2 gigs of RAM, and people are going to buy this and try to run Windows apps. This is not what Microsoft should be doing.
Good point. So if you buy a Volkswagen, make sure you're not buying a 40-foot motorhome to pull with it.
No, it's not even that, I don't think.
If you use it for what it was intended to drive from one place to another and to take a few friends with you and all that, everything works okay. But the minute you try to do heavy-duty things with it, it's not going to work like it's supposed to.
No, it's not. And you know what? You should be able to do heavy things with it. This is the biggest problem I have with Windows here is they try to they unless this is running Windows RT, which if it's running Windows RT, it'll be fine because you won't be able to install applications.
Right.
But if you're running, if the computer allows you to run regular Windows applications, then again, this is just another failure by Microsoft. You can't give people are cheap.
Yeah, that's interesting. They're not saying
somebody sees a $200 Windows or whatever they call it, Stream 14, which of course is another horrible name. And they see a $800 Windows laptop. Which one are they going to buy, Amnon?
I mean, you go with the one that is proven to work and that
but
the price is right.
Which one are you going to go with? The $200 one or the $800 one?
The $200 one.
You're going to go with the $200 one. It's going to be a piece of junk because it's a slow computer. The Chromebook is not meant for...
But it's not $800.
No, but the Chromebook is not meant for...
Right.
With the Chromebook, you cannot run applications. You cannot... There's no Skype. There is no...
Right.
What's another intensive... You can't play any games on it. You can't edit movies.
It's for internet connectivity.
Exactly. So the problem that you're going to have with this is people are going to be trying to use this as a regular Windows computer, and then now we get back to this. Well, Windows is a piece of crap, so I'm going to buy a $1,500 MacBook.
And then it's going to get a bad name because people were actually using it for what it was, for something it was not supposed to be used for.
And then this is all Microsoft's fault because
people are price conscious.
What, Pete?
People are price conscious.
Well, no. The thing is, it's not Microsoft's fault.
Yes, it is.
No, Microsoft is trying to make money, and that's their way of doing it. And if somebody look, I'll take you back to the Volkswagen and the 40-foot motorhome. If you bought a Volkswagen Jetta and you bought a 40-foot motorhome and you try to pull it and it doesn't pull, you cannot blame Volkswagen. You blame yourself because you bought something that was meant to drive around and not something to pull a motorhome with.
That comparison, I don't believe that comparison's accurate, though.
Well,
when Amnon Nissan is buying a Volkswagen, he knows that it will not pull a 40-foot motorhome.
Right.
When my grandparents buy a $200 Windows laptop, they do not know that it cannot run intensive Windows applications. This is a consumer product. The consumers have absolutely no clue what this thing is, and that's why I'm saying this is 100% Microsoft's fault.
Okay, so
you're targeting an audience that knows nothing about computers, mostly nothing about computers.
Let me ask you this. How much RAM is on the Chromebook?
My Chromebook has
RAM.
2 gigs of RAM.
And how much storage?
Mine has...
I mean, what does it come with?
There's a 16 and I think a 32. And
what do you need 32 if you cannot install apps and stuff? What do you need it for?
music videos.
Okay.
I mean, there's stuff you can install
okay.
on. You can have files on here.
Okay.
Well, plus I have Linux on mine, so.
Which Linux?
I'm running Krubuntu. It's a Ubuntu distribution specifically built just for the Chromebook.
Oh, okay.
So,
I haven't seen that.
so it boils down to education and buying it for what it was meant to be.
Exactly, and the problem is
Right.
people that are buying low-end Windows laptops are not educated in what a low-end Windows laptop is for. So I think my point.
Yeah, they really should name it netbook and not laptop.
Well, no, because the netbooks were the same thing. It was a full-fledged Windows laptop with the really cheap, slow Atom processor.
Right.
And people bought it as a regular computer, and they found out very quickly that this thing was unbelievably slow. And that was, again, another... The people that are buying these cheap computers are not informed. They don't know. They don't know that, oh, well, what this processor can't do this? They have no clue what that means. So I think this, again, boils down to the people that are... this is Windows' problem. If they release this, people are going to buy it, expect to do great things on it, and it's not going to work. And everybody's going to have another reason to hate Microsoft.
So let's get into a debate here. Go ahead.
Maybe it should be called Marginal Book.
I think it just shouldn't be able to run Windows applications. Do something like Windows RT. If the user cannot install a Windows application, then there's not a problem. On my Chromebook, I cannot install a Windows application, so there's nothing too resource intensive that I can actually do.
I just do everything online.
Exactly.
Nick.
Because I can.
Nick, why would you blame Microsoft and not HP? HP is the one that's selling it. HP is the one that's building it. HP is the one that's marketing it. They're using Microsoft as the operating system.
Didn't you just say they're working with Microsoft to create it?
I threw it away. They partnered with, yeah.
Exactly. So they're both held accountable for it.
Yeah. Well,
it comes down to consumers do not know what they need for computing. They don't know, and that's why that's the great thing about the Chromebook is there's no hidden thing. Hey, this is a Windows laptop, but good luck running any software on it because it's going to run extremely slow. You can't do that on the Chromebook, and that's why I think it's a good product because there's no misleading thing here. It's not a full-fledged Windows laptop that can't run 95% of the applications because it doesn't have any power. It's a computer that is used to browse the internet, and that's all you can do on it unless you want to install Linux. And the Linux experience on this is not great. It's very sluggish. Just because it's only got 2 gigs of RAM and obviously a pretty low-end processor.
Yeah, you kind of wonder why they put 2 and not 4.
Well, there's a 4-end model. I didn't spend another $70 or $50 on for 4 gigs. Actually, when I bought mine, the 4 gig model was not released.
Nick,
so
did you try Puppy?
Did I try what?
Puppy
Linux. I did. It wasn't recommended for the Chromebook. There's a community of people that there's a few distributions that work well with the Chromebook without a lot of tweaking, and this Ubuntu one seems to be the best. Obviously, Ubuntu is a total resource hog because it's got so many add-ons, but it's optimized for the Chromebook.
That's why I don't run Ubuntu.
Yeah, but
if I had the choice, I would not have. If I had the choice, I would not have ran Ubuntu.
The thing is, Pete, you're running it on a computer. I mean, on a desktop or a laptop, a full-fledged.
Desktop, and it's 5 years old.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. The thing is, it has enough power to do. It will do more than what a Chromebook will do because, just like Nick said, the Chromebook was not designed for certain things. It was not designed to run apps. It was not designed, so that's what we're talking about here.
I've got a crappy laptop somebody gave me, or actually it was my brother-in-law. It's an AMD processor, 1.6 gigahertz. It's got 4 gigs of memory. It's an AMD based Toshiba. You talking about crap-ola? And I put Manjaro on it, and I got all the twirly gigs and everything running. But your average user, like Nick was saying, they're ignorant of the situation of what something will do, and nobody tells them. All they want is that sale. You don't need to be buying this. Sure, it's $179 or $200, but it won't do this, 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 and this. Are you sure?
Yeah,
but
and
it's
the
only
problem is the marketing
$200,
isn't
and I'm
there
fine
for
with
it.
that. But later they find out it's not fine.
Nick, you were saying?
It's not marketed as that. It's not. If it allows you to install the Windows applications, the people will never know.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Hey, Mike?
Yes, I'm not.
I mean, I'm just catching from the side of my eye that the chat is rolling, but I'm not concentrating on it. Are you reading in what's going on there?
Yeah, they're talking
Okay.
about. There's some side conversations which are good. I mean, they're getting some questions answered among themselves. That's good.
And it's nothing that should come up to the forefront
No,
here?
I mean, Movie Buff is asking if anyone's tried the new Diablo game. Nick said no. And
I know this audience loves gaming.
Not yet. I mean, this is. I mean, if these guys want to talk about gaming, call in and talk about it.
No, that's not the show.
Tell them where to go to talk about gaming.
Yeah, you tell them where to go.
Well, my show's not calling.
Maybe it should
But
be.
it could, well, they can be. I mean, here they're chatting, they're not calling.
Yeah.
Speaking of-
It is on the radar.
Well, we'll talk about it later. We
No.
No,
talk about
we
it
talk about it now.
Oh, God, I don't want to talk about it though.
I
And
do.
Be quiet a minute.
Okay, there we go.
On the radar, Thursday evening at 7 o'clock at radargaming.net.
Now, if that was a mouthful, then you're in luck, because
yes.
there is a new service available, but only for the top internet broadcasters out there.
Correct.
Like me.
Go to whenisiton.net. That's easy to remember. Even Mac users can get this. Whenisiton.net.
Yep.
And when you go there, you will see a list of all of the shows that have been added that are what we call live podcasts or live internet broadcasts. And the idea is that there are a lot of us doing shows that we can't remember who's on when, so now we know when is it on.
Right.
If you go over to the left-hand side, you will see a link where you can add your internet broadcast to that calendar. We encourage you to do so. So go there, whenisiton.net, and on the left side. Now, do we have more than one talking here?
No, but let me just add real quick that if you go on the left side here on the Computers 2K Now page and you see the link to other shows in the menu, that will take you there too.
Now,
Go ahead.
there's also, and Dr. John says, is that for professional podcasters or commercial podcasters? Yuck, 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 yuck. Yes. And so...
Oh, we're not getting into that again.
We're not. But there's also another benefit that if you are a Twitter user, that if you will follow When Is It On at Twitter, that's at When Is It On, each time a show is starting, you will get a tweet telling you that Computers 2K Now is starting right now, or whatever the terminology is. Mm-hmm. And, if you're here listening to this show, which you are, it's because you're interested in internet broadcasting. You're not glued to the TV or to the old-timey radio and all that stuff. And what happens is that it allows you to learn what else is out there and find out what you do like and what you don't like. And yes, whenisiton.net is fully supported by the IAIB, which is the International Association of Internet Broadcasters, the premier association for the people who know.
Yeah, and there's a lot of shows that go on at the same time, which is good because if you're more into the geeky things, there's a show that comes on at 11, so about 15 minutes, called All Things Good and Nerdy, and they talk about comic books, games, movies, TV shows, all that stuff. So there's a show for everybody on there.
Yep, there's a bunch of shows.
Shows that we
Mostly Thursday night at 7:00, but.
But the show Thursday night at 7:00 is on the radar.
But there's also one other comment too. Some of the comments being made in chat, and what I'm suspecting that people are going to say is, like Uber Geek says, no agenda. It's not on there, and the reason why is because we're not adding programs on there unless the sponsors and the creators of the program ask to be included.
Merle,
I mean, if the no agenda guys want to be on there, fine. They requested it goes on there. It's not limited to anything except, I mean, I guess some kid nonsense we leave out if it's not entertaining to anyone.
Not even that. That's the thing here is if you guys watch podcasts like I watch No Agenda or listen to No Agenda, send them an email, send them a tweet.
Nick, let me ask you something. What if I ask you? What if I write in that I want to add no agenda? Is there a way to verify that I am the host or I am not?
Well, you have to put in an email address, and I'd rather have the content creator.
No, I
add it
understand.
So that
but do you check to see that whoever is submitting it is actually in authority to submit it?
No, but I
Okay.
look at there's an email address.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
it's not an issue yet. I mean, it's
No,
and
it's
God
not an
forbid
issue.
that someone would put a show in there that they were not the originator
Right.
and pick up additional listeners. But no, I mean, it's not that big of a deal. Somebody said that, well, why isn't TTFN on there? Well, they apparently they don't know about it yet, and we're not going to just add them. If they want to be on there, I'd love to have them on there. But if they don't want to be on there, we're not going to add it. We don't want to start getting emails. We don't want to be on that because
Exactly.
we don't stick to a schedule or we're not looking. Who knows why? I mean, it's there for free, and if you want to be on it, you can be on it. All you got to do is click on that link and send the information.
Yeah, the other reason it's good for the content creator to add it is because you submit an email address. So if there's something wrong with the show or a feed changes, there's another form of contact there. So definitely though, if you're a viewer of a show, TTFN, No Agenda, whatever, keep hammering them with the link. Keep telling them that, hey guys, just add your show to this, and they may or they may not, but that's their choice.
I was participating with an online show yesterday. When I was talking about it in chat, several people said, wow, great idea. How many people from that chat came over, Nick, to look
One.
at it? How
One,
many
and
came over to look at it?
like 10, I think.
10 out of that chat, and 1 signed up.
Yeah, and that one that signed up is is on Thursdays at 9 p.m. That's the Home Gadget Geek show.
Yeah. So the other 9 are probably saying, wonder why I can't build audience for my show. I just don't get but 7 people showing up.
Yeah.
Well, I got an idea.
It's
You got to promote your stuff. This is just one more way of doing it. And it's free. It doesn't hurt anything. And the traffic on the site is, I guess it's fair to say, has exceeded our expectations so far.
very much so. We've had the site up. How long do you think we've had the site up?
2 weeks? Well,
2
it's been
weeks.
up a long time, but we haven't done anything with it but for the last 2 weeks.
We've had 736 unique visits to the website since I put this counter software
and really
on.
done nothing to promote it. It's probably
Correct.
being promoted by people who are putting their shows up.
It is. There's even somebody reposted it on the Telestream forum. It's posted on the IEIB. It's there, and we'll expand if the shows start becoming overwhelming. We will adopt and hopefully keep it up and running.
It was actually put there for our own use because we sit here with nothing to listen to and wondering what's on.
Oh, Movie Buff posted it on the Telestream forum. Okay, so
Good.
there you go. I saw the link traffic coming from there, so I saw that somebody posted it.
And it was on the IAIB.
Fact. But yeah, definitely tell your favorite podcast producers or internet broadcast producers to add their show. .net, not .com. When is it on .net?
Right.
And we're working
.net.
on banners too. Banners that you can add on your website if you feel inclined to do so. So those will be out soon enough.
Municipal broadband is in the news again.
Woohoo.
This time, Chief of Staff Matthew Berry, speaking at the National Conference of State Legislators, has endorsed states' right to ban municipal broadband network and warned the Democrat-led FCC to not do anything that a future Republican-led FCC would dislike. The argument is that municipal broadband discourages private investment in broadband communications, that taxpayer-funded projects are barriers to future infrastructure investments. This is Google stupid?
Hey, how dare you call Google stupid?
No, is Google stupid? Is the fact that they want to come to Raleigh, North Carolina, or to North Carolina in general, and if there was no ban, or with the ban, are they not going to make money? Is that not investment? Is that, I mean, I don't understand.
Google doesn't care about making money. They've got so much money that look at all the services that Google has where they're not making money. It's just unbelievable. I don't think it's a money issue with Google. I really don't.
I mean, how can you say that by blocking municipal involvement, municipal broadband, it stifles investment in technology? I mean, somebody has to do it, and they make money. It's not the state. Pete, you were going to say something? No, he was not. I'm sorry.
No.
It's just amazing that anybody will argue it like that. I mean,
That's a totally insane thing.
In my opinion, at this point, and I think in many other people's opinion, the states that have that ban are the losers at this point. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I haven't noticed whether Florida's on that list or not. But I certainly wish we had gigabit access down here.
Well, maybe you will.
Is Donovan
Right now,
around?
What, Mike?
Is Donovan around?
I don't see anything from Donovan. Donovan, are you still here, or maybe he left?
Yeah. Who'd you lose?
We lost Pete. Interesting. Oh. So your internet is not that great, Pete, huh?
Well, no, I haven't had any problems with it until, wouldn't you know, until you need it. That 87 megabyte downloads I get and the 40's up sometimes has a problem. I purposely left the boys where they were at because if it was up to them, I'd have two of them here on Minecraft.
Well, that's what it's for.
Ripping away my bandwidth.
Well, they should enjoy it.
And well, I'm telling you what, the youngest one, Jason, he was on Minecraft yesterday for 9 solid hours. His eyes were bloodshot when he got off.
Now that's...
I swear, that boy can do anything in Minecraft. He'll be 10 this year. And he can type like a whiz too. That's the only good thing that I see coming out of this. He's learning to type.
All right, put
It
the
might-
wallet back in your back pocket. That reminds me when somebody pulls, hey, look, my grandkids.
Well, I don't know what's going to happen when they finally move out of the house because their mama's not going to have the internet I got. They'll probably be over here anyway.
Hey, Mike, is the Steve in the chat our Steve?
It is.
Oh. Morning, Steve.
Let's see what cities we have here.
Oh.
Listen to this
Come on.
thing. Pete, I'm
listening.
I'm hearing myself coming back from you. I don't know what you're doing.
It's Skype's trying to adjust itself.
All right. Philip Danks used the camcorder to record Fast and Furious 6 in a UK cinema. Later, he shared it via BitTorrent and allegedly sold physical copies. Now
Ouch.
he's been sentenced to 33 months in prison for his actions. In court, it was claimed that Danks' uploading of Fast 6 resulted in more than 700,000 downloads, costing Universal Pictures and the wider industry millions of pounds in losses. Danks was originally told police weren't going to take any action against him, but he unwisely continued to share the movie files after his initial detainment with authorities. 33 months in prison.
Ouch.
No, ouch. I don't think it's long enough.
What he shouldn't have done is sold it. Because if I had $1, well, I don't know, a $10 bill anyway, for every movie that I downloaded out of news groups,
Well-
they'd haul me off too.
No, they won't. They need to haul the one who put it there to begin with. I mean, to go and really the ones that losing at the end would be us, the people that want to go and watch the movie, because it may not be there. Because people are not. What? You bet what?
I bet you I still got 40 movies that were cammed on a hard drive here.
Well,
Somebody cammed in a
fine.
theater.
That's fine. NSA, are you listening?
Yeah, that's all right. I
Yep.
downloaded Kali the other day, about a week and a half ago.
But-
That's one of the marked ones. One of the Linux, when you download it, they start watching you. Kali Linux is built for hacking.
We're
I haven't
talking.
installed it.
We're talking about fast internet, Mike. There was another. It's just a headline that said students from states with faster internet tend to have higher test scores.
They can cheat quicker.
What?
So they can cheat quicker.
Huh?
Cut and paste quicker.
Yeah, exactly. Wikipedia pulls up 5% faster than somewhere else.
Northern Illinois University recently began restricting student access to web pages that contain illegal or unethical content, which, according to university policy, includes resources used for political activities and the organization or participation in meetings, rallies, and demonstrations. A student raised concerns after attempting to access the Wikipedia page for Westboro Baptist Church and receiving a filter message informing him that his access of this page would likely violate the university's acceptable use policy.
So what's the problem?
Along with a warning that all violations would be reviewed. This has led to questions about whether some policies that restrict students' access to information are in the best interest of the primary goal of education.
There goes YouTube.
I don't know. There goes YouTube. It may be. I mean, YouTube doesn't belong there. But I think if you are a student at a university and you're paying for broadband, and you do, whether directly or indirectly, you should be able to do whatever you want.
You have no rights.
Exactly.
Mike?
You have no rights in school.
Well, university is different from
Yeah.
from regular school
Yeah,
because it's mandatory.
Exactly, but either way, no. They can block whatever they want. It's their internet.
I don't think when you're in school, in dorms or whatever, that you can actually get your own internet in.
You could go 4G.
Good luck.
Well, I know. I'm telling you, there's
Yeah.
options out there.
Yeah.
There's a company that sells a product, a 4G line, get an access point that you can stick in your pocket.
Right?
It's $6 a month, and you pay for only what you use.
And how much is that?
$6 a month.
No. I mean, what
If
you
I was,
use.
oh, the actual use, I'm not sure, but
Okay, so never mind. I mean, if you don't have all the information, don't even mention that.
well, it's ting.com.
Yeah, now Ting is on
Look for yourself.
T-Mobile, which is not
No,
great.
it's
In
Sprint
Oh.
network.
Sprint. Okay.
Sprint's not great down here.
Yeah, that's the big problem with T-Mobile and Sprint. They've got good plans that are, like I think T-Mobile's now has like an unlimited data plan, but they don't have coverage anywhere.
Well, that's AT&T, so they use the AT&T network.
Yeah, well, here when you have T-Mobile, you don't even on the top of the phone. It doesn't even say T-Mobile. It just says AT&T because there's no T-Mobile service.
Yeah, I'd be embarrassed too. My son's got he's got T-Mobile. Him, my daughter, her husband.
Why?
Oh, by the way, I'm not because Neil's got a business account.
So it's,
Where do
I
they
mean,
live?
T-Mobile, and they don't have any problems with it down here with T-Mobile.
Well, where is down here?
Oh, I'm sorry, Holiday, Florida. It's Tampa, the Tampa
Okay,
area.
yeah, it's a big enough city where I don't know, it comes and goes. I'm interested in the T-Mobile coverage, Matt.
oh, I know a lot of people in Raleigh area that have T-Mobile, and it's fine.
It's not
So
bad
it's-
everywhere.
But if you travel,
Yeah.
You're in trouble. I have yet to find anywhere. I'm paying too much for Verizon. I'd love to get out from under them. But every time I think about getting away from them, no matter where I go, I've got a signal of some sort. I mean, we had to go to Fort Lauderdale a few weeks ago, and you have to go down through a section of the country that has no towers. I still had a Verizon connection all the way over to Fort Lauderdale.
well,
It's called Gator Alley.
yeah, on the highway they put towers. You may not see many of them, but you don't need that many when it's open space, and it's there.
Yeah, I'm looking at the T-Mobile map right now, and half of the United States is a service partner, which is AT&T. So they are not great. There's a lot of patches, and most
According
of
to
it is just AT&T anyway.
According to my son, I was going to go up there and get out of my contract. They'll pay out your contract.
Yeah,
Buy
I'm
out
looking
your
down.
contract.
I'm looking down at Florida, and almost all of Florida is covered.
My brother, he's moved from Kansas to Ocala, and he's got Sprint, and his is in and out.
Mhm.
He calls me every afternoon while he's driving home. His is in and out all the time, all the way home.
Yeah, make sure you're doing your research before you sign up with the provider. If you
Oh, I'm
call
not
them
signing
and
up
ask
with
them-
anybody anymore.
Yeah.
Once I'm done with contracts, I'm done with them.
Here's some other piece of news. IBM sold its personal computer line, including the iconic ThinkPad line, to Lenovo back in 2005. Now Lenovo is poised to acquire IBM's line of x86-based servers and has garnered the approval of a regulatory body which could have scotched the deal. So another chunk of IBM is going to China. Now, Mike, you were talking about the fact that a lot of people here in the States are actually employees of Lenovo that you know, and they're happy about anything like that that keeps their jobs, right?
Well, that's kind of an amalgamation of what I said. What I said is that the fact that Lenovo is a Chinese company is true, but they have a major U.S. presence. They have a big office over near my office. I know several of the guys who work there. They're a good employee, good company, treat them well. So, I mean, they live in this area and work in this area. So as long as that's going to keep jobs and help the company grow, then so be it. I have no idea how that's going to impact IBM. The difference is that people don't realize how diversified IBM really is. One of the things that IBM is doing that is a major business center for them is actually involved in traffic control systems for various municipalities. Big bucks for these guys. So the fact that they are getting rid of, and I haven't read the story and I don't know what I'm talking about, so if anybody disagrees, that's fine. But what I'm assuming that this means is that they are offloading these computer servers that are really like PCs, in that they are 1 and 2 rack unit servers. They're not the mainframes. I suspect the AS400 sort of stuff that they're doing is what they're keeping. Don't know that, but that's where the money is. But I mean, look at what you can buy a server for. How much margin is there in a server? How do you pay a technician 150, 200 grand a year and sell them a server that has no margin?
Well,
servers
Quickly,
are
just
getting
going
to the
back-
point to where PCs are. There's not a lot of money in them.
what did you say, Nick?
So just quickly going back to the cell phone thing,
Yeah.
if you're looking to switch, contact a provider that you think would work and tell them that you're interested in getting a phone to test, and they will most likely give you one to test your coverage in your area. I know Verizon and normally T-Mobile and Sprint do. Not sure about AT&T, but normally, just say, hey, looking at your thing, can I get a device to test coverage where I live and where I work? And
For a
most
couple of
them are.
years.
Hey, Nick,
Yes.
click on JustCast.
Okay.
And Mike, you can do the same. Or anybody.
right.
Anybody can.
Why?
Okay? You see it, right?
Yeah.
Now I'm switching,
Oh boy.
and I switch to the HD or whatever that you set up 60. How's that look? Other than the bars.
Doesn't look good because of the player.
Is that macro blocking?
I can't tell. Yeah, you'd have to fix the player, really, for us to tell.
You have to fix the player, or you have to fix the embed size.
No, the embed size, I guess.
Yeah, I understand, but that's because of the bars on the top of the bottom, right?
Yeah, but it's a little hard to see because if you put it full screen, it's this extremely letterboxed video. So you'd have to change the
Oh,
embed
yeah,
first.
that's right. It's sideways too. I mean,
It's because the embed is all screwed up. Don't worry about it now. I wouldn't worry about
oh,
it.
it
now.
looks so. That's weird. Okay. Well, I was just trying to see what it'll do.
You know what's so strange is that of all the players and the CDNs, just as far as pure usability is concerned, I still like Bambuser best.
Because
I probably because I'm used to it. I like the it's got the live button. It shows you the number of viewers, the way the menu's laid out on the bottom. It loads quickly.
You know what I don't like about Bamboozer?
What?
Sometimes the video will start and it won't click over to live, and somebody's watching VOD for 45 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, it's none of them
Yeah.
is perfect, but in terms of who I would like to see to get and keep their act together fastest, Bamboozers they have the potential for doing it, but I don't sense that they're gonna be doing that. They're not interested.
Nobody's
in
really using the service.
No, a lot of people are using the service.
in Europe.
Not for the
Not
kind of
for
stuff
what
that you're
we're
unlo-
doing. You're right. Not
Exactly.
for what we're doing, because they shut us. They shut most of the people out. All they do is either mobile or your webcam. You can't use. I mean, the fact that we're in there is a special thing that they did, that they allowed us. And but
I
yeah,
agree.
they shut all these people out. They want to go with news, and that's because AP now owns a majority, I think, of stock in Bamboozer, the AP. So they want news. But I was the reason why is I was just trying it, and when I go to the, again, I said I judge by the full screen, and when you go to that other, the 16:9 shot over there, the text at the bottom is really nice and clear, versus now if you do it on JustCast, it's, let's not get into it. We've already been through that.
I agree.
Mike, we're talking. Well, let's talk a little bit about the broadband again over here, and then I want to go to that audio stuff. High-speed internet has become an everyday tool for most people, and cord cutters, cord cutters are people that cut the cord to TV, cable TV, and are doing all their video viewing on everything on their big TV and everywhere on the internet, have dramatically slowed the growth of cable TV. So this had to happen eventually. Broadband internet subscribers now outnumber cable TV subscribers among the top cable providers in the US. So that means that Time Warner possibly has more internet subscribers than cable TV subscribers. According to a new report, these providers account for 49 million, almost 50 million broadband subscribers, edging out the number of cable subscribers by about 5,000. So it just happened that they eclipsed it. As Recodes Peter Kafka notes, this means that for better or worse, the cable guys are now the internet guys. Kafka said their future is selling you access to data pipes, and pay TV will be one of the things you use those pipes for. So just like people have no cable TV and they have internet at home and they use the Roku or Google TV or Apple TV or whatever, today you can go and watch your local TV on the web.
Love my Roku.
What about your Roku?
I love my Roku.
Yeah. And there are other services like that. So it's like, okay, I'm not going to pay for my cable TV anymore, which is about, I don't know, 70 to 120. That's $50 a month. And put that $50 toward more bandwidth. What incentive these providers have to to lower the price of internet access or to give you faster speed. They're going to lose the side of the cable service, and the more people hear about it, then the more people are aware of it, more people will do it. Of course, you need a faster computer, and you need to put a computer every place you want. You now have a TV. But it's obviously happening if they already surpassed it. What do you guys think? Mike?
What?
What do you think about this?
Which question in specific?
About using internet access, data service to watch TV and cut the cord and not have cable anymore. Cable TV anymore.
I mean, but I mean, I heard what you said, but the question is, what opinion? What difference does an opinion make? People do it for specific reasons.
Right.
For example, the content they want to watch is not available on regular cable TV, and others they don't want to have to sit through trying to get to talk to someone at Time Warner. They don't want to have to go to Time Warner and take a number and sit there for 30 minutes to get up there and complain that your remote control doesn't work. I mean, there are a lot of reasons to tell Time Warner to go jump in the lake, but even then, for now at least, you're still stuck with their internet if you want to get high-speed internet. Netflix is its own thing. Certainly, you're dealing with companies with tons and tons of money, and they will absolutely engineer ways of getting more money out of your wallet. So I don't see that it is long-term going to be a cost-saving thing. We're in a transitional period right now where if you're a big fan of Netflix, there's a good chance that you're going to have Netflix as well as cable TV. So the cost is much higher now. Is if you're able to cut if as more and more people cut the cable, and I think that most people disagree, if you will, but as far as I know, the only reason to be a cable cutter is to cut the cost. I mean, right now, if I had the local channels, I don't really care about the other things. I mean, there are a couple of channels that I watch up in the, I don't know what they call the tiers anymore at Time Warner, but up to about channel 72 or 77 or whatever it is. But I could very easily live without them. In fact, I don't even watch television that much anymore. Occasionally, I'll have the TV on in the background, particularly since I will say one thing good about Time Warner that you may not be aware of, that if, for example, if you, and this is a little distraction, but I think it's close enough that it's important, that if you, in our situation, we have the Time Warner DVR in our great room where the main TV is in the house, the big TV. I have a flat screen up here in my studio. It's a, I guess, 40-inch TV, but I don't have a DVR or a digital cable box, which means that even though I can watch channel 5.1 in HD, the other channels that come in on the cable are not available in HD because I don't have a box to do the conversion. We learned a couple of weeks ago that Time Warner has a box. They call it a digital television adapter, a really creative name, DTA, that if you bring the coax into this box, then come out of this box with HDMI going to your TV, it allows you to get all of the HD channels below channel 77 as HD channels, which means that if I want to watch CNN, which I never would, but if I wanted to watch it, if I go to whatever channel that is in this box, it's full HD on my TV. If I don't have this box, I can still go to that channel, whatever it is, but it's in SD, not HD. So this box is actually one of the first decent things that has good value with Time Warner. It's 99 cents a month right now.
Now,
Mike,
another thing that... Oh, sorry.
go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No,
go ahead.
I was going to ask, Mike, if you canceled your TV service from Time Warner, the TV side of it, what are you going to miss? Do you know? Did you ever look
well-
at it? Did you ever think about it?
Sure, of course. If I were to cancel my service, I would miss the local channels, which are generally going to be channels. I mean, you've got the ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox local affiliates, and I would miss those on cable, which would necessitate that I put up an outside antenna to be able to receive those signals off the air. And it would be perfectly fine for me to do that if my wife would ever get off this NHL kick and some of the NASCAR things. It would be perfectly fine with me to totally eliminate cable TV and live off of the internet.
What about the local affiliates do you need? Is it the local news or national programming?
There is no news on local affiliates. It's all opinion. It's all.
All right. Well, okay, Mike. Yes, you know what I meant. It's not the local news.
No, there are a couple of shows that we watch. One is, for example, we watch PBS. We are a PBS house. No, This Old House we have watched, as well as on PBS, as well as This Old House. Are two of the shows that I watch.
And you couldn't watch that online?
Probably. You ask what we use it for. That's what we're using it for now. Is there an alternative? Could be. Very, very well could be. But the other thing that we watch is Blacklist with James Spader. We watch 24.
That's on Netflix. It's all on Netflix.
Not the current season is. That's after the season's over.
I'm talking about watching it live.
Right, live TV. And we watch, what's this show with Big Bang Theory?
Yeah, but I know the news on the affiliates, the local affiliates, is always there live.
But what I was going to say is, the only reason I know this is because I'm weird with weather stuff, so I watch a lot of weather coverage from around the country, and I would say anywhere between 90 and 95% of all TV affiliates in the country are doing web streaming for their daily newscasts. 90 to 95%. So if the local newscasts are what's tying you to cable, you've got two options: either A, get an outdoor antenna, or B, you can watch it online with a cable subscription.
Well, Channel 5 could sign off the air. I wouldn't care. In fact, I'd be happy if they did, because they really have gone off the deep end. And in fact, I ran into David Crabtree in a restaurant a few years ago, and he started asking me some questions about what I thought about the coverage, and I told him the truth. And he sat there and just stared off, and he said, "Wow, I can't believe you think that I'm liberal." And I said, "Well, I'll tell you what, David, I'll make you a deal. How about I send you an email every time you do something that we can interpret as being liberal?" He said, "Absolutely, do it." And so about 3 days later, I got tired of sending emails, and I just quit.
Did you ever get feedback?
Oh no, they don't feedback. They don't care what people.
No, I mean,
think.
who did you send it to?
To David.
I know. Did he give you feedback?
No. No. They don't care. Nobody in the media gives a rat's behind what the great unwashed commoners think. They couldn't care less.
Yeah.
I've been in the business. I know what it's like.
Well, all right. Now, Mike, I'm now that you guys were talking, I was watching the chat. There's one much bigger reason why we don't stream to YouTube. YouTube has a big latency, much longer than anything that we're doing here.
Right. But your opportunity for audience is dramatically increased.
No.
But what we're talking about is I'm sorry, I don't remember who asked the question. Why aren't we streaming to YouTube Live since we are doing a Hangout? I'm on the Hangout with Nick. Amnon's in the Hangout, but he's capturing the Hangout with VidBlaster to stream it to you guys. And the reason we don't do a YouTube live, and I think I'm right on this, Nick, the reason we don't do a YouTube live at the same time is because what you would see is what Nick and I see, which is no Amnon, none of the switching, none of the backgrounds that Amnon's doing. It's just the raw feeds with Nick and me at this point.
But in reality, we could do that. I mean, all Amnon could just stop doing the switching, and then we could do that. That would be an option.
Did their quality improve any?
The quality was never bad.
What?
Their quality was never bad.
I remember the days when, what's his name? Dan? Mike? What was the guy that used to be here and he's a...
Oh, yeah, Dan.
That it was unwatchable and unusable.
Well, it was unwatchable not because of the quality. It was unwatchable because at the time they had such an influx of users.
Dan McDermott.
Yeah, Dan McDermott.
Yeah. But the quality wasn't bad. It was just they had so many people trying to use their service.
Well, part of the problem is the quality of Hangouts is very low, audio and video. Occasionally you'll get a flash of HD that looks really, really good, but most of the time with all the switching and so forth, it's really not good. But as far as I understand, whenever you then stream that Hangout live to YouTube, the quality is actually better on YouTube.
Correct.
It's actually better on YouTube than it is on the Hangout. And while it would be interesting to go ahead and turn the show into just a Google Hangout and be done with it, that's a possibility. That 60-second delay, we depend on chat a lot. Chat's a very important part of what we do. One of the criticisms that I have, and I haven't even told you guys this because I've been watching it to see if I'm just turning into a whiny little Nick or what, but
excuse me?
Nothing.
I'm leaving.
But one of the things that I'm curious about is to listen to people who are doing a professional show who allow themselves to be distracted by chat. I think that's a mistake. That if you're going to integrate chat into a show, let's say you have a pretty highly formatted show, then don't say yes, I agree with you, and not even say. For example, Movie Buff in chat says that Google does take a lot of users' feedback, and that's a good point. You integrate it with it instead of just talking to the chat room. But here we have a looser format. We're not actually appealing to the masses. We've got a tight little group here, and if we say, Tim's, I still like you, Nick, that doesn't require a lot of explanation. We know that Tim must be on drugs.
I can find out about getting a YouTube Live account and use it as another CDN or replace one of the other CDNs.
But why?
I don't know, because Mike was saying that that there is a potential to have more audience from there.
I wouldn't say.
I don't know.
Not with YouTube Live. I wouldn't say that. I said I wouldn't say that with YouTube Live. They don't feature live broadcasts at all on YouTube. You have to dig to find live broadcasts.
Okay, so Mike, what made you say that?
Because the fact of the matter is that there are people who do spend a lot of time looking for live YouTube broadcasts, and I have a link on my computer that when you click on it, it will do like its own ad hoc directory of who's live on YouTube. So if someone is using that directory and they see us and they click on it, then they could listen to it. But Nick is correct as well in that there are so many out there. How are you going to get noticed?
Well, I think the only reason for a show to be using YouTube Live is either A, it's their main CDN, or B, they're doing a Hangout on air. I don't see the benefit of being on 100 different CDNs. It's just the only reason that I see being on multiple CDNs is when one fails, and you can say, okay, people switch to that. Well, there's a difference between
That's
multiple and 15.
No.
That's why I'm on 2 CDNs.
No, yeah, 2.
I have a backup, but I don't. We actually talked a little bit about this last night, and I'm going to bring this into the public, and I'd like to hear everybody's opinions on this.
Be careful.
I don't. There's no such thing as drive-by traffic on CDNs anymore.
I disagree. Look, I mean, I can't tell what's happening on JustCast or StreamUp or
I'll tell you
Dailymotion.
what's happening on JustCast? Absolutely
But
nothing. There's
How
nobody on the
many
site.
how many viewers do you see now on Bamboozer?
23.
Do you know how many we have so far today that popped in and out?
I know what you're gonna. I know you're gonna say a high number, and I'm gonna call total BS on the number because
I don't know.
something. Do you know that yesterday when you were doing your test? How long were you live when you were doing your 16:9 test on Bamboozer?
Probably 20, 30 minutes.
Right after you finished that, Bamboozer said you had 800 people watch it, and I know for a fact that is not the case. There were
No,
2 people watching
come
at the
on.
time. Yes, I promise you that's what it said.
But what you're missing, though, Nick, that number, I mean, we have no way of proving it's right or wrong, but part of what you're missing here is, and I know Steve would, and I saw this when we were doing TalkShoe, and that is that while those numbers are of no value to us whatsoever, it is interesting the way they happen. Bamboozer, again, is very, very prominent over in Europe and in the Middle East even. Al-Qaeda uses Bamboozer for its meetings. But what happens is you get a lot of people, particularly in non-English speaking countries, where people click on the various programs trying to listen for people talking to learn how to speak English. It is everywhere on TalkShoe, and Bamboozer has a lot of people doing that. In fact, I've had even people contact me offline because they were viewing in Bamboozer. So they would ask really silly questions, and I really wouldn't engage them because I never knew who I was dealing with. But there is a lot of sampling. In the radio business, we used to call it CUME, and that is people turn it on, listen for less than 15 minutes, and turn it off. For example, now when we look at this at Bamboozer, it says 26 viewers. We don't know what that algorithm is. It may be that they have to listen for at least 30 seconds, or they may have to listen for a minute or whatever for that number to even change, or it may just be a random sample at any moment in time. But there are a lot of hit and run viewer listeners on Bamboozer, and I agree with you, Nick. They don't do us any good. I mean, it doesn't mean anything. But the fact
I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying the fact is that the fewer drive-by hits you have, the fewer opportunities you have for organic growth.
The problem is, the drive-by is not what it was 5 years ago.
Totally agree.
Ustream does not feature broadcasts. And you know what? This is nothing against Dailymotion. There's not even a directory for live shows. So I don't believe there's such thing as drive-by on Dailymotion. Nobody's using JustCast in reality. So
they can't.
Well, exactly. So maybe you're getting a few things there, and it's the same thing with StreamUp.
JustCast and StreamUp do feature live. I mean,
but nobody goes to their website.
But nobody's on the site. Who cares if they feature live?
But here's the thing, guys. Let's be real. And the guys who were getting back whenever Andrew was getting organic viewers through Stickam.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was a gold mine to Andrew because people were going to Stickam. They were looking for porn. They would see something different, and they would go to it. They saw what they liked. They stick around. They stuck around, became regular viewers. That was excellent for Andrew. But over time, because there are so many other programs out there, there is so much other content that these organic viewers and drive-by, they're not there. That was an unrealistic expectation for the future of internet broadcasting. In my opinion, where we are now is if you're going to build the show, you've got to do it yourself. You've got to work your butt off. This gets into where we have been talking about here and in the podcasting groups on the internet that I mod, and it has to do with you've got to promote your show. You've got to work hard. If you're going to be successful, if you're going to make $1 million a month like some of these guys are claiming, so that you can send the answer creep some money, then go for it. But you're going to have to work your butt off to do it. It is podcasting, internet broadcasting is not get rich quick. It is not easy money, and you can probably make more money driving a bread truck if you work it hard. So what I'm saying here is if you want to build it, you got to work it. You got to work social media. If you're doing something that has local content, like, I don't know, let's suppose you decide, and this is something we haven't talked about in a while, but I think it seems to me that Tim's right, pimping ain't easy. But what happens is I think you're going to see a lot more internet broadcasting go local, and that is that you're going to have Sean's doing this now in that you have your local team, you're going to stream it on the internet, and the people that you really want to watch it are within a 5 or 10 mile radius of where you're originating the broadcast. And that's a local content, and it's my opinion, which 98% of what else I say is, but as far as I'm concerned, that's where the money's going to be made in the few coming years in internet broadcasting. There are not going to be that many Leo Laportes or Tom Merritts or Andrew Zarians who have this national broad appeal. It's going to be the Seans and the Nicks and whomever who cover something at their school, and whenever they have this ball game going, they've got 500 people, parents and grandparents watching the kids play sports, and it has enough. And the key is this: it has enough acceptance that the local car dealer is willing to pay $500 to support the broadcast.
Mm-hmm.
And Donovan agrees with me, so that makes it official.
I don't think that I don't think it's necessary, and I don't think you should be, unless you have the availability to be doing this insane stuff with all these CDNs. The drive-by traffic is not there anymore. It really isn't, and especially on these smaller sites, there's no audience. Stickam, I think, was the last site that really had a good drive-by traffic.
And it was all because of porn.
And
not all of it, just 99%.
But it worked. People were finding Andrew stuff by drive-by. You're not I'm sorry, Amnon. You're not getting drive-by traffic from JustCast, Dailymotion, or StreamUp. You might have a viewer here or there, but it's not a thing anymore. It's really not.
Well, like I said, if we are getting anything, then they're welcome. But the main thing is though that if one CDN dies or something happens, we can tell people, okay, just click on the other one to go there and keep on going, instead of me having to jump in like we did in the early days and change the embed on the page and tell everybody refresh. So this
definitely.
Is
I
the
think
reason.
you should have a backup. I don't think you shouldn't have a backup, but I don't think that. And I pretty much know that.
I mean, we can with the press of a mouse now we can go on Vaughn and on Ustream. We don't, because there's no reason for it, but they're there.
Exactly.
If something happens, I could do it, but people will not know because they're not mentioned under the video here. The only ones that we have the 4 that we're actually doing.
Yeah.
But what
that
Nick
doesn't
is
mean
saying,
that doesn't mean that they're all working. I mean, sometimes you click on StreamUp and there's nothing there.
what Nick is saying is correct, in as far as I see, in that the adding CDNs very quickly reaches a point of diminishing return.
Yeah,
Exactly.
It uses your bandwidth, it uses your resources to stream to multiple CDNs. So you get 25, 50 viewers with your first stream. You pick up 2 with the second, 1 with the third, and each of those streams is potentially taking as much resources as the first.
correct.
So you reach a point of diminishing return.
Correct. I mean, it's
And the reason I brought this up yesterday was because now that Twit has dropped now that Justin TV has dropped, it is no longer on Twit's live stream. They're on 2 CDNs now, and I don't believe they have any plans of expanding because it's honestly it used to be worth drive-by traffic. It's not anymore. They're on they have 2 streams on BitGravity, 400K and 1 megabit, and then they're 800 on Ustream. And I don't see them expanding anymore because there's no reason.
Haven't we just now reached this point? I mean, doesn't the disappearance of Justin really bring this home? Isn't it now? just now to the point where have you just now reached the conclusion that drive-by is a farce, or have you had that opinion for a while?
I've had that opinion for a while, but I just I kept my mouth shut because I don't want to upset anybody. I don't want Amnon to be thinking why am I wasting my time with these different CDNs. I don't want other people thinking that.
There is nothing that's going on right now in internet broadcasting or podcasting that's a waste of time. The industry is so young and fresh that what Amnon's doing is in essence an experiment to see if it works. If it finds out it didn't work, he successfully proved something he shouldn't be doing. That's nothing to be criticized or critical over. I agree, because that same sort of experimentation could yield some positive results, and you don't know till you try.
Yeah, the big problem is when somebody starts a broadcast, they look at everybody else and go, "Oh, I've got to be on Ustream, I've got to be on Justin, I've got to be on Livestream, I've got to be on Vaughn, I've got to be on StreamUp, I've got to be on JustCast." No.
Jerry Lee says that he used to do audio on Live 365, never got any drive-bys, but he'd get 30 or 40 regulars. And Live 365 would do absolutely nothing to help me grow an audience. And he has just stated the absolute perfect example. Live 365 is a well-established website. They have a lot of people going there, but there are so many choices there. How in the world could even they have any organic traffic? The Donovan beat me to it. The only benefit for Live 365 is royalty payments. And you guys who do this aren't going to like my comment, but we need more music streaming services like we need more tech podcasts.
Hey, I'm just starting a new tech podcast.
Okay.
Yeah. But I want to get to the point. Don't fool yourself. Don't sit down and say, well, because I'm on all these CDNs, my viewership is going to grow, because it's not. It's not. I can guarantee you it is not. You're not going to double, triple, quadruple your audience from being on 302 different CDNs.
No.
It's not a reality anymore. So find a CDN that works for you, and if you have the bandwidth, do a backup. But I don't see the point of being on 4 or 5 or 6 different CDNs. Find one that works, and if you have the bandwidth, do a second.
Who does 5 or 6?
Not now, I agree. You got to look how far this whole process has come along since Spencer first introduced Amnon to it, and then I saw about it. It's come a long way. Some good, some not so good.
Yep.
What did you say, Amnon?
I said who uses 5 or 6?
I'm not gonna call.
That's kind of that. Come on, jeez.
But that's and their justification for it is, well, I'm getting drive-by traffic. When it's not a thing. Drive-by traffic is no longer a thing with CDNs. There's no community there.
Right.
But this is why this whenisIton.net is probably one of the best ways to build traffic to your live broadcast, because people are so busy they forget that you're on. Get it listed on there. When you sit down at the computer, I have already started using the service myself. I mean, Nick and I created it. And I because I wanted to know what was on. And so when I sit here, if I've got some time, my kids are out of the house now. I mean, I've finally got a little time to myself. So when I say, well, what is there to watch? So I go to whenisIton.net, and the very first show I clicked on, the guy was sick, didn't do it that night. But that happens. I mean, people understand that. And but with this extraordinarily good resource that Nick created to have the site to tweet out when the show is getting ready to start, that was exclusively Nick's idea and implementation, and it works extremely well. If you're active in Twitter, if you're not active in Twitter, it's useless.
And originally we were going to do email, but then I just realized nobody uses email, so Twitter is.
I totally disagree. I mean, and I'm glad you said that, because this morning when I was breaking my shower nozzle, I was thinking about that. And I'm personally, and it probably has to do with the generational differences, in that you say people don't use email. Amnon and I live by email.
People don't use email for that. I don't believe people use email as much for that what's the word I'm looking for? That use case anymore. I don't think people need email to get a notification anymore.
But if I had, there are several shows that I watch, for example, that I forget when they're on, and even some of Steven's shows that I would want to watch, and I'd forget when they're on. And now I actually have gone to whenisiton.net to remind me when his shows are on, and as a result, I've watched a few or more of them than I otherwise would have done so.
Yeah.
But one thing I would suggest here to think about is that anyone who is, and Donovan, you already know all this stuff, but Donovan's the perfect example. Donovan is building his own little network. He's doing, I believe, 4 shows a week, Donovan. I'm sorry if that's not right. Mm-hmm. But he's doing 4 shows a week, 1 a day, Monday through Thursday. And if it were anyone other than Donovan and I were playing devil's advocate, I would say, all right, let me ask you a question. What are you doing to build the audience on that show? And that is, if you are doing a show, about, let's suppose that the easier example, if you believe that things are going local, is let's suppose that you're doing a show with your local football team, high school football team. Do you have somebody at the football team handing out flyers? By the way, if you're not at the game, you can follow along at this website. Are you buying little ads in the school newspaper? Are you asking for people's email addresses so that you can send them an email when you're getting ready to go live on the pre-show? Or do you have their Twitter account, asking them to follow a particular Twitter account so that they can be reminded to tune in? Do you have a Facebook page for your show? Do you have ways of... None of us want spam, but some of us want to be contacted about the things that we are interested in. In fact, there's actually an opportunity for someone, Donovan, to write a book about guerrilla marketing for internet broadcasting and podcasting. We've got these guys who are going down to Texas and talking about how to get rich and $1 million a month in my business, and they've got, it was so funny because this show, which I do think was a good idea and was well attended, that there was a post, a matter of fact, maybe on the home page, they had a post showing the convention room with everyone in there. They have this double screens with PowerPoint presentations on it, and honest to God, the one video that they captured, the one PowerPoint slide that was captured on the picture had dollar signs in it. They're just, it's just unbelievable. That's not where people need to be focusing to get growth. They need to be focusing on guerrilla marketing. Get out there, get in front of people, and get them to know about it and to be able to find you and to tune you in. Jerry Lee's talking about there was a Yahoo local, Google local, some other things like that. And I don't know what, again, it has to do with guerrilla marketing. I don't know where the best places are. This show, as we've talked about time and time again, none of us is trying to make money or live out of this. This is something we do because we enjoy interacting with you guys every week. We're now looking at, as accurate as the count may be, 25 viewers on Bamboozer. That's enough to keep us going. If it dropped down to 3, I don't know that we'd keep going, because we don't base this show on the number of downloads or YouTube views we get. Those are bonus. Those are extra. If we stop losing our live viewers, this show, as far as I am concerned, is over. This is a live show that has some recorded backup. Most shows don't do that. Most shows go live because a lot of people like it live, and they might have only 5 or 25 or 30 viewers, which is totally sufficient, but then they live off of the downloads. That's perfectly fine. But if we're going to do live and make live grow, then we're going to have to do some guerrilla marketing.
I'm an expert in guerrilla marketing. I'm writing a book, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and if you guys are not here to communicate also amongst yourselves, I'm not talking to Nick and Mike, I'm talking about the people in the chat, then yeah, the show will probably cease to exist.
Movie Buff asked in chat, is anyone digitizing their old family home VHS tapes? I'm very curious why you're asking that question, because I actually bought a Panasonic AG1980 to copy all of my VHS tapes to digital, and I haven't done it yet, and the tapes are certainly deteriorating, and I am too.
I
And
believe, is that the player that's got the VHS on one side, tape in, or DVD in the other?
No, it is a commercial grade VHS playback.
I've got a Panasonic one that put the DVD in one side, put the VHS in the other, and it.
Yeah, this is an AG1980. I had a videotape that I recorded back in the 80s of my family's aunt and uncle. AG1980. AG1980. Panasonic, and the tape would not play on any of my VHS players, and I put it in that one, and it played perfectly. It's
Yeah,
a
this
commercial unit.
This is a VTR, not a VCR.
No, it doesn't have a tuner in it. That's true. I don't think it has a tuner in it.
Oh yeah, we have this thing at school. We have a Sony one though.
So the problem is that as time goes on and as these tapes deteriorate, it's going to be harder and harder to find machines they will play on. And I mean, I've got high 8 and regular 8 tapes. I don't even know if I have a way to copy them. I'm going to end up having to spend big bucks to find somebody who has a well-maintained 8mm tape machine, whatever they called it, to be able to get my home videos off of them.
I converted a few VHS tapes, the full-size VHS, to put it on a CD. But it's a long process. It's hooking the VHS player to the computer here and actually capturing it and then saving it and converting it to something you can play. But it works.
Yeah, that's why the Panasonic, I think it's a Panasonic player I have, is nice. Because it's just one button and it's done.
Well,
yeah, I'm gonna have to get on that. It's like Steve says, absolutely, it's very time consuming. But I mean, my kids, we came along at a time when I always bought the best camera that I could get for the money, best camcorders to make videos. Always recorded them in high speed. But a lot of that stuff may be lost. I have to not think about it. I get upset because it really bugs me. I mean, Nick, if you ever get married and have kids and take videos of them, it'll be all digital, and that digital quality will always be as good as it is the day you record it, so long as you back it up. You got to back it up to get it back.
Do it right.
well, it's about time.
It's past.
So anyway, I'm glad that everything went with no glitch with the video here.
The show's not over yet.
I know. Shut up.
Whoa. Mike, did you just hear that?
No.
What are you trying to do? You trying to make it go crazy? You trying to jinx it?
Not at all. Why would I do something
No,
like that?
but at this point, I really wish that I did this before. But like I told Nick, I need to take baby steps, and we do it slowly, and we get there and all that. So the next step will be to get all the other streams to go widescreen. And Nick, I'm assuming that if I have a 920, I don't have to do HD. I can do just 16:9 SD, right?
Well, no, it will be HD, but you just scale it down.
Well, when you scale it down, it messes it up.
Yeah, but webcams don't do SD. They're HD cameras.
Okay.
But you can still use it in your 16:9 application.
But it's going to degrade the quality, the clarity.
No, it'll be a whole lot better than the cheap DV cams that you have.
Okay, well, we'll see about that. Then in that case, we can probably, I can probably add that. We'll see.
No, don't go too close.
I know. Slowly. That's you guys are trying to push me. Hey, do it. No, it's fine.
No, and it's not. It's not that. I guess people might get the wrong view from this. We're pushing Amnon because we think it would be beneficial.
Yeah.
There's people that want to be on Amnon's network, and if him doing HD could pull more people over to his network, viewers and content creators, it could be beneficial for both parties. So that's why we're pushing him. One day.
One of these days. Yep.
Oh yes.
Yep. All right. Anything else?
Check out When Is It On? We talked about it enough, but
yep.
Add your show if you do a live show.
Whenisit.net.
Yep, and follow on Twitter. That's the best way. And quickly, Donovan said the email thing. I'm not sure. I don't know if like a free email service, Mike. I don't know if you know of one, or maybe if Donovan or anybody else in chat knows of one.
Sure.
That I could set up to do that, and I need almost like a MailChimp thing.
Oh, well, that's what I was going to tell you was MailChimp.
The thing with MailChimp is you can set it. I don't know how that works with a schedule, because I'd be sending I could do one at the beginning of the day or do one every time a show starts.
We don't need to figure that out now, but in fact, there may be something better than MailChimp. In fact, you probably could create your own SMTP server.
Yeah, but then I got to manage that.
Well, I mean, I understand, but if you want to just do the same old everything everybody else is doing, that's fine, but at least investigate what the options are.
Alrighty.
Yeah, Nick,
maybe MailChimp is the best way to go. I don't know.
You have a server, and if you need to put it on one of my servers for something like this, I will have no problem, because we're not talking about thousands and thousands of emails.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
So if you can find a script that can do all that has a web-based back end that will allow you to manage it, I'll be more than glad.
Yeah, there's got to be some PHP tool that'll let me do it.
Yeah.
And in fact, Donovan would be a good one to connect with, because he's probably got some really good ideas on that.
Yeah. Alrighty.
All right. Well, thanks, everybody. Thanks, Pete.
Sure.
Good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm. Steve, thank you for being here. Katie and Donna, thank you, everybody, for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing. Back up your hard drive and update your virus scanner. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. And while you're at it, like us on Facebook. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Tomorrow morning at 11, it's The Health In. At 1 o'clock, it is Breaking Free. And at 7 o'clock, it's The Tanya Love Show. See you then.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. Our weekly lineup of call-in programs includes Computers 2K Now with Amnon Nissan, Health In with Debbie Bruck, Breaking Free with Marilyn Shannon, Lessons of Vietnam with NCVVI members, The Tanya Love Show, Reawaken Your Brilliance with Julie Seibert, and if you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it at www.nissancommunications.com. Sponsored by Atomus.com, makers of quality video recorders and converters for professionals. That VidBlasterGuy.com, CarolinaApparel.com, and DeltaForce.net.